to me. Bitch, wanna step to me. If you wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama. Yeah, I got that big D energy. Ain't nobody wanna step to me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I'll whoop that ass like Michael Obama.
No, Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
Transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Oh gosh. It's okay.
I whip that beat down like Michael Obama.
We already had it with
I got that
Obama.
big
So
energy.
let's just calm down.
Nobody wanna step to me.
No.
And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. I'm a girl, 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 I'm a whip the thing out like Michael Obama. I got that big energy. Ain't nobody wanna step like me. And if you really wanna bring that drama, I whip that ass like Michael Obama. Ain't got that clip, bitch, hung like a llama. I whip that dick out like Michael Obama.
The deep below, like twisted water dogs, in shadows they smirk. Down in the rivers, out in the seas, masters of the deep, dolphin mysteries. Bottlenose freaks, short beaks in the night, humpback shadows, pygmies out of sight. All the dolphins, you know it's true, rolling deep in the ocean blue. Stripes and spots, they rule the tide. Water dogs of the deep, they don't hide. In the river's grip, seas endless bounty, ruling the waves, dolphin Illuminati. Praised by Romans, gods to the Greeks. Underwater rulers, the power peaks. In ocean depths, their counts to 6. Dolphins in the dark, never calling it quits. Striped and spotted in the sea's domain. Aquatic dogs in their own insane lane. Through rivers they ride, seas they roam. In the ocean depths, they make their home.
Well, I talk about insanity, which is what's going on in your mind, and outside, which is where you communicate with those outside. As you know, if you give too much of your insanity, they'll lock you up. Well, I tried giving as much as I could. They locked me up. They published it on paper.
Illuminati, deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin. Illuminati in the rivers and the seas, they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin. Illuminati, it's that dolphin. Illuminati, deep, deep, deep in the deep they creep. It's that dolphin. Illuminati in the rivers and the seas, they be a constant mystery. It's that dolphin. Illuminati, it's that dolphin. Illuminati.
Conspiracy about Stanley Kubrick, moon landings, and the CIA? Go visit nasacomic.com.
nasacomic.com, CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm nasacomic.com, go visit nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. CIA's biggest con. Stanley Kubrick put us on, that's why we're singing this song. I'm nasacomic.com, go visit nasacomic.com. Go visit nasacomic.com. Yeah, go
Never a Straight Answer is a 40-page comic about Stanley Kubrick directing the Apollo space missions.
Yeah, go visit NASAcomic.com.
This is the perfect read for comic, Kubrick, or conspiracy fans of all ages. For more details, visit nasacomic.com.
I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches its clicks, getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Know too much, get left in the ditch. CIA scratches its clicks, getting itch. Yeah, I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking, now your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. Wiki leaking out your dome into a ditch. You wish the simulation had a glitch. You wanna be rich, but not Seth rich. I wanna be rich, but not Seth rich.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe?
What we used to think we knew is constantly exploding. Our possibilities come true, so what we do is call out to the good guys. Good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mega mistakes, entertaining, calming linguists. Good guys. Forum of decorum needs a secretive society to advance on philosophies intentionally, magically. Good guys, good guys, good guys, good guys. Witches, widows, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Big up yourselves and welcome back to another episode of the Secret Society of Good Guys. Happy full moon and summer solstice, and thanks for joining us on Rumble or X or anywhere that's not YouTube. Hi, you good guys. How are you?
Good guys, good guys.
I know. We have the awesomest intro music.
It's so hype. It always gets me so hype.
All the songs. I love them. But definitely our theme song.
You're gonna play the Dead Body Man up on there.
The Dead Body Man.
Dead body.
Oh
man.
yeah, I've been working on making like rap, so like the most offensive rap songs that I know into like classic doo-wop songs. And one of them was Dead Body Man by ICP, but I renamed it by the Ice Cream Pals.
Oh, I love this idea. Yeah, I did put that
Cream
link
Pals.
for anyone asking about it. And Thomas, is that link on paranoidamerican.com?
It
For
should
your
be.
new
It's
show?
It's not at the moment, but it will be eventually.
So you guys can find it's The Sound Scientist, right?
It's just sound scientists on SoundCloud, or you can go to hiphopproduction.com. I've owned that domain since I was like 17.
Oh,
And
nice.
on
And I'm like
YouTube
90 now.
also, right? Isn't there a new channel on YouTube?
Yeah, oh yeah, if you just go to YouTube and then at Sound Scientists, that's where you can see Dead Body Man. I think there's like 4 songs on there. I put one up called Lobster Gun the other day. I just got like a weird earworm and I was like Lobster Gun, and I had like a whole like a song for it. So I made a song called Lobster Gun too.
I think this is awesome. And so a lot of your music as well, people can use on their own shows or make their own videos about it or use it in the background of their TikToks, or some of them you can find now on Instagram. So you can use it in your stories. Like Big Dick Energy is something for the season, everyone. Make sure you're putting that on all your latest Big Mike memes.
They slowed me down. So someone put the little flag on the account that's like, they're using generated music, stop them. So anything that they got on now is good, but I'm having to find new ways and new distributors. I've tried DistroKid and TuneCore and CD Baby and SoundCloud distribution, and like they're all starting to clamp down now. So I'm getting fancy. I'm like routing it through. You can't see, but I've got a bunch of like analog gear around here. But I'm like routing it around, setting it through like my Electron analog heat machine, and then bring it into Ableton. I'm trying to like defeat the censors, the freaking algorithms.
I like how you're trying to defeat the censor to get the algorithm to let a computer play itself.
Right. Trust me, a person made this. Like, what do I got to do to it to convince you that a person made it?
Computers fighting computers! Yes!
Finally, this is how we do it. Also, welcome to the Secret Society of Good Guys. We want to give a shout out to Layla. She's taking a day off because she had a little loss in her family, but she'll hang out with us Sunday. And so if you guys can go follow Layla at God under Pill Angel 333, God Pill Angel 333 on Instagram, you can send her hearts and loves, and she'll appreciate that. So Alan Marcus and Donut, thanks for coming to hang out.
Good to be back.
Yeah, thank you. It's the summer solstice rituals, and today is the new moon. Or not the new moon, a full moon, the strawberry moon, the egg-laying moon, or the honeymoon. And this is where we get the term honeymoon from, is from this full moon tonight. I mean, I feel like a crazy person right now. Lunatic. Yep.
You might be coming through a different microphone, Donut.
Uh-oh.
It's not your normal dreamy honey voice.
It wouldn't be a Secret
Are you
Society.
sure?
There it is.
Wait.
I just wasn't. I gotta hold this.
Oh, okay.
Is there an echo?
It's not me! It's not me!
It's not Gordy, everyone, that wanted him voted off the island.
That's right.
But Gordy,
all you people that are keeping track of all the little fuck ups.
but Gordy, you were like most valuable player last week. Like everybody loved your like full act. Like Gordy in a suit and tie was a vibe. You were hired. Like people were sending me resumes.
Send them my way.
Gordy is a free market out there, a free agent right now.
Completely
you guys are looking to hire anyone.
Agent.
He's a free agent, and he's almost a free agent for you ladies out there too. There is an echo. I don't know where it's coming from.
I hear the echo too.
I'm muted, so
it's probably me.
I'm clean.
I'm gonna mute myself right now. Let me know if it's me.
Okay.
Check.
Got it.
Check.
I'm not hearing any echo.
It's you.
Is it me?
Yep.
Oh, how is that? It's never Donut.
It's me.
No, I hear it still.
Oh, no,
hear
I
it.
hear it now. It's not me, is it?
I don't think it's you, Gordy.
Is it me?
It's either Alan Marcus or Donut, because when I said hi to Alan Marcus and Donut, but look at Alan Marcus
Try
is
it.
like, it's not me because I only hear me inside my ears.
It's not me. I'm literally muted right now. I've been muted.
Well, you
Hello,
just sounded
hello.
really crispy.
Yeah, now it sounds.
It's me. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's totally okay.
There we go. Fixed.
We don't mind it. It's actually does something. This little bit of time makes the computer censors like, okay, we don't have to listen anymore. Why they talk about the solstice rituals.
All right, now let's talk about eating faces.
How big of a threat can they be if they can't even get their sound right?
Yeah,
They're
like,
amateurs.
no one's gonna listen to this, so
They're
now we're game on.
podcast hobbyists.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
I
have
like
issues
it.
every Friday, or sometimes Sundays too. Yeah.
You
It's
know what
not us,
happens
it's
on
them.
Sunday, Abbie? You're late. You're latent on Sunday. I don't know
I'm
what it is
latent,
on
huh?
Sunday.
Okay,
No,
that's
but your
weird.
sound always sounds fine. But look at your picture on Friday nights is always Chef's Kiss. But they take away your picture on Sunday for us. It's
'Cause I
not
got
as
good
clear.
shit to say on Sunday. That's why.
You're vibing too high for Sunday. So it is a full moon. It's a strawberry moon. Is it in Scorpio or Cancer? I've heard both things.
I thought it was Capricorn.
No, definitely not Capricorn.
Maybe it's Capricorn.
I thought it was Gemini. What the fuck do I know? I'm not an
Yeah,
astrologer.
Gemini.
Get
Look at
get
us.
symbolic studies on here. Where's Mario?
I don't know.
Well, if you want to know where it really is, pull up your sky map.
It's been so cloudy and so rainy in Minnesota that I haven't even seen the stars in I don't know how many days.
Cloudy and
Monsoons
rainy.
kicked in today. I had to run.
It's hot and humid as fuck here, so.
You had to run from monsoons today?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So you didn't get flooded?
Yeah. When you're on the side of a mountain, when those monsoons hit, it's a little rough. And you just kind of gotta find shelter. That's it. Here we are.
My Starfinder map says the
finally
full
cleared up.
moon's in Sagittarius right now. Nothing
Okay,
makes sense.
I don't care. It doesn't matter. Does it? It probably does.
That's why I think it's so funny about tropical astrology. Like, it's just, it does not match where stuff actually is.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all.
No, because the full moon is not, it's in Sagittarius. If that's what your sky map says, or sky app, like that's where it is.
On my timeline, I never see Scorpius in my sky during nighttime and the moon. I was so surprised last night when I opened my Starfinder and the full moon was between Scorpion's pinchers. I always feel
Yeah.
like it's out during the day here. I'm like, am I on a different timeline? I know the Mississippi runs backward on my timeline, but Scorpion's only in the sky during the day in Florida. I know. The earth rotates, everyone. Anyways.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Well, I'm actually curious, like how much do hours and minutes and seconds matter if you're like deep into astrology when it comes to like birth readings? Does any of that matter? Or is it just the kind of the day?
Could you get it down to the millisecond?
It matters for your ascendant sign, like that, and where you're born, like the actual location and the minutes. Yeah.
So when it comes for the minutes, like, is it when the head crowns? Is it when the pinky, like the last pinky toe exits? Like, what is the action? Because it might
When they
take
cut your
more than a
cord,
minute
man.
for the whole thing to come out, right?
Don't you think it's like when they cut your cord? Because that's when
So
you
do you
take
think
your
it's
first
when
breath.
the cord falls off?
So what if they don't? What
Yeah.
if you wait? What if you don't cut the cord for a couple days and then you snip it? Does it start like at that moment, or is there like do you have control over it? How much do you have to rely on what the nurse wrote down on the birth certificate versus when it actually happened? Because if it happens and then someone's like, "Oh, by the way, Nurse Ratchet, did you
It's
fill
when
out
the baby's
form?" And
fully
she's like, "Oh,
out.
crap,
Like,
I didn't. Blah, 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 blah.
they fill out
I'm
the form
just-
for when the baby's out. It
I'm
has
just
nothing to do with the cord. But I'm just saying, technically, it should be when the cord's cut.
I'm just picturing a couple of days, like somebody holding it around with the string, with the
Oh, we gotta wait
umbilical
for it to
cord.
be astrologically favorable.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
the
just hang
placenta?
on for a little bit.
The cradling
Don't
your
you think
placenta,
that's
too?
why they probably even have us paying attention to a birth date at all when it's all conception date that mattered?
That seems
But
even harder to track.
But if you even talk about conception
Not
date
really.
at all now, everybody's like moon child. Like like it's automatically part of a spell if you talk about like planning your conception, which should be the most thought out thing. You could plan, if you're healthy, you could plan the birth date by the conception. So the conception seems so much more important.
I don't know
Well,
what
what
it
about
matters.
death date?
Does it matter?
I feel like your death date would be more important than your birth date.
Well, I don't know if
Only
you
to
know
you.
this or need to hear it. Only, only to you. This is just a little thing at the intro, and the algorithm sometimes doesn't love it. But here, this is Gordy with this week's special message to everybody. Just so you know, no matter how rich or how poor,
You're all gonna die.
it never gets old.
What if I just ascend though?
I just don't think it's so scary, but we all do it. But it shouldn't be. Maybe it shouldn't be so scary at all. It just is. Back when they probably are like, "Oh,
Well,
good, you're done with
if
this
you've-
flesh."
Yeah. Well, if you've done it a couple of times, which I guess if any of us really dig, we probably have.
Have you heard this thing? I posted a story, speaking of death, that if you plant a dead
if you don't deal
body
with
on
it-
your land, that your land, you no longer have to pay taxes on it at all. And this is one of the reasons that they like have us burning ourselves and putting ourselves in urns and then or going into cemeteries, is because we no longer bury our family members on our own ground.
Why did I just see something about that too?
I
And
don't. I
feel like
put
it was
Vanilla
anybody's
Ice.
Vanilla Ice.
I put Vanilla Ice on my story talking about Donald Trump burying his ex-wife on the property. It has to be a
That's what it
family
was.
member, and it has to be the corpse. And I've seen a couple of people where they're like, "Whatever, there's got to be more to this," and I'm like, "Ugh, there's got to be more to everything." And they're like, "This can't be," and I'm like, "Well, 50 states." We all have different laws. And they're like, "You can't even have a human skull." And I'm like, actually, that's only illegal in 8 states. Like, you can have a human skull in 42 states, everyone, just so you know it's fine.
I feel like this might be a honey bot, so that you're not only telling on yourself for not paying taxes, but you've also got like a dead body on the property. So it's just like when they're like the criminals, you just won a car, and they show up and they're like, "All right, where's my car?" And they just go right to jail. I think it's one of those kind of situations.
You don't think there's anything to it?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know if it would ever be applied to the normies. It might be like some weird maritime law where, like, if you're an admiral, it applies to you, but not if you're, one of the peons on the poop deck.
Make sure you call before you dig, though.
Yeah, you have to get a license so you don't hit pole.
You don't hit a electrical line.
Or that would be so weird if you're buying a house. Like in my house now, there's like a stepping stone that it has a bird on it, and it looks like it's an animal grave site, like a little pet cemetery. Like I imagine a cat's under there or something. So it would be so weird if you bought a house and there's like, oh, grandma's there from like however many years back, but it isn't your grandma.
It
Like
doesn't have to be like, was John Wayne Gacy just trying to
so-
save on property tax?
So the thing that I understand is that there was one time I worked in a cemetery for 1 year, and what I understand is there is you have to have generational in at least in Arizona, you have to have the property in more than one generation, and that body can then be placed on that land, but it has to be interred by a family member. And there's all these other little things that have to happen. There was one dude out here in Amato that buried his father on his land, and I know that my grandfather wanted for everything to be buried on his land, but it did not happen.
So what if you buy land and you find like a little cemetery from the 1800s on it? Can you actually then, even though it's not been in your family for 2 generations, can you bury your family there?
I don't know. That's a good question. I know there's
Because-
people in town that have cemeteries in their backyard.
Yeah,
that
that's
are old.
my friend. We were like just walking on her land, and we found like this old cemetery with like little
Bitchin'.
like old
This
headstones.
does seem like the kind of loophole they'd close if everybody just started burying like family members.
Right.
And now
It'd be so
everyone's
much
just like out of
cheaper.
taxes.
Do you know how much it costs to bury somebody? Like when my mom died, like my dad had to get a second mortgage on the house.
And a casket is ridiculous.
It's like
It's more than a
Imagine-
car.
Imagine,
Yeah.
if you will, there's a black plague that sweeps across the land and all these dead bodies start piling up. Just imagine that. Has that happened yet?
It is happening now.
I have a question. Did anyone see that our nemesis here on this show, if you've been watching long enough, you know we're Team Brittany all day, every day. Did you see that when we got off air Sunday? The last thing I said, I was all heated up because, sometimes I get patriotic dominatrix because sometimes people like it, okay? And and so I was all heated up, and at the end of the show, I was like, "Drink less, fuck faces." And usually I say bye bye, but then Justin got arrested, and then Travis Scott got arrested, and I'm like, "Huh? Isn't this a little funny rung of dominoes for all of our enemies here at Brittany-a-thon, Brittany USA? I mean, Secret Society of Good Guys." What do you think, Donut? Any rituals going on?
Yeah, so when Justin
Resting
Timberlake,
anything?
can you hear me okay? Is that good?
Yeah. Yes,
Who,
yes.
was, the,
So
who was the
Justin
other guy that got arrested?
Justin
Travis Scott in
Timberlake and
Miami.
Travis Scott, yes.
Oh.
Now this was all a marketing mimetic magic deploy. So Justin Timberlake, the Disney kid, he's got a ton of Illuminati symbolism in a lot of his videos, more than 1, 2, 3, probably all of them.
Yeah, all of them have that though. That's nothing. That doesn't mean
Justin
anything.
Timberlake, he went viral with the meme of him with the mug shot. Now that mug shot of him, the handsome mug shot of JT, that was the exact same day that the handsome mug shot of the criminal was released as well. That went viral. Now, today we live in a memetic meme universe. I mean, the president, Donald Trump, got elected because of memes. Like this was cryptocurrency is popular now because of meme coins. Memes play such a huge role. And Justin Timberlake releasing that meme of him being arrested the exact same day as the other guy on June 18th, just for his concert that just kicked off today. They're re-kicking off his concert tour. Now, we could see this with 2 different people, with Travis Scott, who was also arrested, and now he's #1 on Apple Music, I heard, but he's also kicking off his tour because this is a small price to pay for publicity in today's world. In today's world, we need to have extreme marketing to get sales, to get eyeballs and whatnot. So I think this was all strategic. And look, they look like reptilian eyes. Someone pointed that out.
Well, did
They
you
sure
hear
do
the
look
quote
like
where he
reptilian
said,
eyes.
"This is going to ruin the tour," and they said, "What tour? The world, ruin the world tour, like ruin the world."
Oh, damn.
yeah.
Ruin the world tour. Yeah, so that tour is just got kicked off today. And even the symbolism of the tour, he's all in orange. Now, there's another meme that went viral next to this handsome man. It's the Haktuat meme. Have you seen the Haktuat meme? That's a absolutely huge meme right now. And it's all about sodomy, which is fellatio, which I didn't know. I didn't know fellatio
What?
was sodomy.
No,
yeah,
that's not
you
true.
can look it up. I thought so too. I thought
According
it
to
was
the
a
Uniform
photo.
Code of Military Justice, it is everything but what's it called when man's on top? Why can I not think of that fucking
What?
Power
last
bottom?
word? Like that's the only thing that is not like it's illegal for you to have sex in the military in anything but missionary style. Yes, it's all called sodomy.
It's
at that
pretty
point.
funny. Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought that was hilarious when I saw that. But the 6-9 symbol is for Cancer, the summer solstice. If you look at the Royal Arch Dome, the symbolic
is Gemini.
dome, on the top there's a 6-9. Aleister
Gemini.
Crowley has a huge influence in music, and we see this just so much with the Beatles to Jay-Z. And the egg is dedicated to the 6/9 summer solstice to Crowley. Every single 7 years, every Jubilee in Crowley's writings, he would show the egg. And the egg is the 6/9. His Psalm 6/9 was the suck seed and suck eggs, which is the Haktua is about fellatio, and so is the 6/9. So I think that's funny how that was also in the universe during the summer solstice rituals. I believe there's a connection there.
You said something about the orange, and it
What
immediately made me think of Taylor Swift's jet getting painted orange, and them making a really big deal out of it. And then also Stonehenge got painted orange by climate activists. And
How
then
bad
I think,
was that?
yeah, I
It was,
think
it was like chalk paint. Just, I mean, this sounds stupid. Can't you just like spray water on it and it's gone?
yeah, I feel it's just like they put everything became this very orange symbolism. They put it over monuments in Europe. They put it over Taylor Swift's plane. They put it over there. It's just very remnants of Orange Man bad, which I always like. The future proves the past of it, and how much of the memes. The reason that the meme magic started. This is all of it. This is publicity. Us Magazine, Inquirer, any of these things, there's never been anything that's real. They just always keep who needs to be in the headline so they can sell an album, sell a movie, date each other. There's even a thing in celebrity that 1 + 1 of celebrity is times 10, because if you're gonna date the amount of the zeitgeist that you take when you're Benifer, but no one cares this time. Look it's not cleaning up either of their image. So all of a sudden J-Lo's on a yacht trying to shake her ass and make anyone care, but nobody cares. And so it's like sometimes people need street cred. They need this like certain idea of like, oh, Justin's tour started in March. No one gave a shit because no one likes Justin Timberlake anymore because of the Britney downfall. So this is like a resurgence of, well, maybe we can just make him a bad boy and like
Ironic,
push him into
too,
that.
because Zach Bryan, the country music artist, he wrote a song called Something in the Orange. I think that's one of his biggest, like his first big hits, and he got arrested here in my small town. Like, so I feel like that was, and it was so fake. Like, I saw the video of him getting arrested. They're like, "Oh, are you resisting arrest?" "Yes, I am." "Okay, then I'm arresting you." It was so retarded, but like everyone is all an upheaval over it. But Something in the Orange.
I'll just say a little an anon thing from like back when the meme magic started, because it was the way we could get past the computer censors. We knew your memes were going to get flagged if you wrote Epstein didn't kill himself. So if we could write it in cursive, or if we could write it and cut it up in magazine style so the computer couldn't see it. So it's the same way I tell people all the time. If you want to make a meme that you don't know if the computer can see or not, try looking for the meme by a word in your phone. If you can't pull up the meme by the word in your phone, the computer cannot see it. And so you won't get bannered on all of the YouTubes and the IGs and the Facebook. So you can put up the stuff about chemtrails or 9/11, which is still stuff that gets bannered, or doctors we're not allowed to talk about because of fake epidemics that we're also not allowed to say because we'll get pulled down. You can put up shit about that and the computer couldn't see it. So it was magic for us to be little ants and cut out little memes and put it up so everyone remembered that Epstein didn't kill himself. Otherwise, it would have just been rinsed the same way everybody's short attention span gets rinsed. But it became a joke, like Bernie Mittens, which Bernie Mittens is the astroturfing of the Epstein didn't kill himself. That is the zeitgeist showing you that they control the pop song. You don't control the pop song. So it's like, Epstein didn't kill himself. And they were like, shit, that we don't like that. So then all of a sudden they shut down all those accounts and they show you how quickly they can Bernie Mittens meme us. And we all think, look at how organic we are with Bernie Mittens. No, they gave us that because that's part of the Burning Man ritual.
And Burning Man was dedicated to the summer solstice. It doesn't take place during the summer solstice now, but originally when Burning Man was started, it was for the summer solstice rituals. And the orange is also in France right now. The orange is absolutely everywhere. The clockwork orange. And if you look at the chariot card, it's connected to the 6th-9, it's connected to the summer solstice, but so is the color orange. So it's very
But why
symbolic.
orange? Why orange? Why
Because
orange?
nothing rhymes with it.
We can't make a song about it.
Yeah.
Door hinge.
Oh, but there is a song about it. My son sang it in pre-K. It was kind of cute.
Orange rhyming dictionary.
No, they just rhyme like orange,
Jets to Brazil.
not red, not yellow. They don't rhyme with orange. They rhyme with every other word, and they sing
I
about
always
orange.
think that it's interesting that shades of orange are actually human flesh. This is the only
Oh, interesting.
colors that we are is shades of orange. We're not anything different than that. Everybody on the planet fits in some shade of orange. And so you're all orange man bad. Just accept it.
Unless you're reptilian.
I wanted to point out too, Andreas Zerdish found this really amazing article earlier this week. It was from a Forbes magazine, and it was comparing Burning Man to Bohemian Grove, like line by line, and like they all meet the exact same criteria as what they do. The only difference is that Bohemian Grove is kind of like your grandpa's version, and then the I think the way that Andreas cited it, he was like, Burning Man is the Gen X version. Like, this is like, no, this is how you do it. Like, this is how the new kids are doing it. So there's probably like another one that's forming that we don't know about because only like the Zoomers are doing it.
The Cacophony Society. You have to die and give up everything in your old self to be born again as
Yes,
this new
thank
thing.
you. Finally. Oh, is there a point? Yes, finally. Because you got to give it up. You got to fucking surrender.
Yeah, that
There's
is
no
the
other
point of all
point.
of them. That is the all of them. You have
I don't
to
give a fuck
be
about
reverent.
your stupid Hollywood bullshit. It doesn't matter. Get
Surrender
out
what?
yourself
For what?
for God.
Oh, I could get back. Yeah, for sure.
your-
So, surrender
Where is
an
your God,
ultimate
though?
social.
Where is your God?
Surrender, it seems like a weakness, but it's not. Surrender is a
No,
spiritual
where's your
tool.
God? We know what surrender is. Where is your God?
Where is your God? Where's your God?
He's everywhere.
Good answer.
I am.
Turn up any rock and I am there. I misquoted that. I think it's Gospel Thomas, maybe.
I am is all
No,
it really
but-
boils down to, though. I am.
Surrender is huge for me in my life. When I see the white flag, I think, oh my goodness, I'm losing.
Oh,
But no, surrender is absolutely a spiritual tool that I implement in my life where I
To whom?
surrender surrender me. I surrender to God in a sense, but that's such a like vast, topic or whatever. I'm just talking about the action, surrendering as an action.
and how do you do that?
It's hard. It's hard by letting go. And when you let go and surrender, it's pretty much, it's like giving up, right? Surrendering, giving up. But it's on such a deep level that it's also surrendering emotionally, surrendering from an outcome, surrendering from everything. And just, I'm done. And I just let go. It's like we walk around with a burden or a rock on our shoulder. We carry it, and they could be little rocks. They don't have to be just one big. And we get these little rocks all throughout our lives, just little things that we cover, and it weighs us down. I guess it's heavier. And we start sinking. But it's to let go of all those rocks to get light again. And it's just something that I've been implementing for years and years and years, but daily. Like what I'm saying.
Do you think there's like a faux surrendering and a bad way that the elite want you to do by showing you all these movies, all this doomsday, the apocalypse is coming, the plague is near, the brimstone and the fire is right here, you're never going to make it, you're not good enough. Do you think they want you? Do you think there's a difference between surrendering and giving up?
Oh, so I mean, I think there's a big difference. What the elites want is us to be apathetic and depressed. So the surrendering is the opposite of that. So the results you get from surrendering is the opposite. It's not surrendering to the elite. It's not surrendering to narcissists. It's not surrendering to evil. It's surrendering to pretty much my own will of what I want, and being more in line with what does God want in a spiritual sense, you know?
Right. More like they're making us look for a savior. Like, oh, we can't do it ourselves. We can't help ourselves. We need somebody, which I guess.
Oh, we all got to go back to ourselves. Like,
yeah.
You can't count on man. Man's going to fail us because man is human and we are flawed.
Do you think that's like all part of the trope, is that no one's going to show up for you? Like, if there's a sense of community that always got us everywhere, that always got us ahead, they don't want us to feel that sense of community. They don't want us to know each other like that. They want you to feel far away, like nobody relates, like you're all alone. You're the only one that feels these things.
I feel that way all the time, and not just me. People feel super lonely in packed cities. Like, it's not just me being targeted.
Because there is no community.
There's no more.
There's no support,
and there's no more vulnerability. There's no more community. There's no more physical touch, and it's all we gain. All put in our little digital silos of. I think David Icke calls it he calls it something. He calls it something good, where you just focused on your own reality tunnel. I think that's what he called it. And we all are in our own digital silo reality tunnels and separated from the world. I mean, the communities, at least in an insecure society like where I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, it's so insecure that people will become in cliques and not open to bring on guests like on a podcast. You
don't think that happens everywhere? In every
it
single...
It doesn't. There's a lot of... There's different to societies. There's insecure societies and secure society. Have you ever been... Like, a small town is pretty secure. A lot of them. Because there is a community.
Can you trust them? Are you sure you can trust them?
I trust my small community. Big time. And like having my friends visit from their shithole towns to my community, and like being on the streets, you can feel the difference of energy. People show up for each other.
If you're looking for a society that you can trust, I've got one in mind for you. Actually, you'll never guess who it is.
Secret Society of Good Guys.
That's right. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That's right. That's what he was thinking of. See a Secret Society of Good Guy hat.
Also, when I got passionate on that topic of surrender, and my bad for getting all wild with that. But those little things internally, those little passions, excitement, that is something to follow if you're into your passions of, if that's starting a YouTube channel or whatever. That's that mojo. That life drive, the eros, and it's important to capture that. So when you said surrender, it did capture something for me. Thank you.
No, I think there is something that is a calling for people. Like, you have your calling, you decide whether or not you want to follow it. It's in the daily, it's in the stuff you say, the conversations you have, the times you sit quietly and don't say anything at all, the times you actually listen and hear someone, the times it's like these little tiny things that you're called to do, people you're called to share your experiences with, because it like breaks down walls. All that stuff is from somewhere. When you're the one person who decides, I'm not going to put a mask on. I don't know why. Everything on the media tells me to, all my friends and family tell me to. I don't know what the calling is, but I can't do it. It's not my ego. It's something different. I don't know what the calling is when everything tells me that I should jibby jab myself with Fauci. And I'm like, this seems weird. Like there's a bigger calling. I don't know what the calling is to find these weird shows that you find. You're just turning on YouTube, or like the people that fell across Alex Jones back when, or fell across Joe Rogan back when. And all these things are cheesecloth, but they all help you kind of like elevate yourself. If you make it through the cheesecloth, you become like more finite. You have a calling to keep looking a lot of the time. What is it, Gordy? What do you have to say? Stop taking over the stream, being passive aggressive. Say what you got to say. Okay. Anyways, so yeah, like that kind of stuff. Old me would have sat there and felt uncomfortable. Like I'm at a dinner table with my family and there's a hemming and a hawing of somebody going on, and we're all going to be uncomfortable around this person for a long time. New me does not sit in the uncomfortable anymore. Even if it's my friends, even if it's here right now in front of you guys, that is a calling. It's because it's like, do I want to say this right now? Let me say it kindly. And this is how I'm going to say it. But this is the thing I think we all need to do in life more. You have to show up for yourself and show up for other people and say stuff that sometimes seems uncomfortable. But that's just called taking a mask off. And maybe Gordy was trying to take a mask off, but somewhere around his passive aggressive and his hemming and hawing, he wasn't ready to share it yet with this group. And so he took himself out of it, which I appreciate and respect, because I don't need it to shit in my beer right now. I'm trying to hang out with my friends. So, anyways, what else is going on with Justin Timberlake's arrest? Or you guys can talk about whatever you want, really.
Also, on top of what you're talking about, that comfortability, the difference of not being comfortable in our own skin, in the group pressure, because group pressure pushes us to follow the crowd. The whole crowd wants us to go in a direction. They all want us to wear mohawks if we're a punk rocker, or face paint if we're a juggalo. The whole crowd pushes us to go, but to go back to the self and be like, yo, what do I want to do? I don't want to wear a mask. You know what I mean? I don't want to do that. It's very cool to see. Ayn Rand said it was the biggest minority is the individual. And I know that could go deep into there is no individualism, or there's nothing, but the discontent, I've had this my whole life and I still get it. And so does society. Freud wrote a whole book on it, and that's what the whole Purge movie is about. The discontent of society and the malaise. So we feel so like, oh, why don't I feel connected? Why do I feel so isolated when there's all these people and uncomfortable? It's this disconnection inside of this discontent. I mean, and there's where am I going with that?
I do think people are lonely, and people are so antisocial in this way that the time that they're around people is in a job they hate, doing something they're not fulfilled with, or they're sitting inside their house where they're unhappy, doing something that they're miserable with, and no one's around anyone anymore. Where we used to just say shit. We didn't let shit build up. We didn't push everything under the rug all the time. It wasn't just a thing for us to just say things and move on with the community, with society, with things. Everything's gotten to be this place that I have literally sat with my own family and thought about my immediate family and how the people that we've all sat quiet around, the people that they've brought around our community, that we've all had to sit quiet around. And I'm just like, gosh, I'm no longer like a 10-year-old little girl where I have to sit quiet in these uncomfortable situations. And I'm by no means talking about Gordy with this whole thing, everyone. I'm not being passive aggressive at all. I'm not passive aggressive. I'm actually talking about a situation that I would call my brother-in-law out by name, but I don't want to be that big of a cunt to my sister.
How many brother-in-laws do you have?
It's just like sitting in these situations where it's like, that shitty guy at the meeting that's always allowed to tell these fake jokes and everyone's like, no, I no longer give somebody a fake laugh. You're not funny. I hate that there's these old men that walk in and they have to take over the whole entire energy of a room with their loud, boisterous nonsense just to hear themselves fucking talk. I'm no longer giving them my fucking energy. And so it's just like, I'm going to say it. That wasn't funny at all. Because they're like, oh, is something wrong with you today? No, you were wanting me to laugh and that wasn't funny. Like, I just feel like I'm going to start saying these things. We live in this fairy tale-ic world where we let like shitty Uncle so-and-so pretend he's Disneyland dad every time he's around us. And we all know he's a piece of shit drug addict. I'm going to start being like, Uncle so-and-so, please, you haven't been around us for a year. Stop acting like we're going to miss you when the next year goes around.
Kids,
Like,
everyone make sure you've got your Narcan because Uncle so-and-so's here.
yeah, I just like there's people that they're like, deadbeat parents. They hold their baby. I'm gonna miss you while you're gone on vacation for a week. Really, bitch? You haven't seen him for 5 weeks. Like, you're not gonna miss this week any different. We just let these people say these things that are nonsense, and I'm over watching movies in my real life of other people LARP a fairy tale. I'm not gonna be a part of that fairy tale any more than I'm gonna play along with your fake gender. Like, it's all levels of people's fake fairy tales that I'm overplaying along with. Like, I don't want to anymore.
I feel like we should go out to like a restaurant or something, and then you just play like referee on another table, and just like, nope, what you just said was BS, and I can tell. Like start extending it outside of just even your own like acquaintances, right?
I don't mind. Like I already said, I would take the brunt for society to pull the trigger on the evil. I don't mind the karmic blah, blah, blah. Like if I have to come and do this again to pull the trigger on Hillary, okay. Like it's just these like levels of things of like, thou shalt not kill. Okay, you guys abide by that. I think if you diddle kids, I can pull the trigger. I have no karmic ish. So there's just levels of fairy tales I'm overplaying with.
Period.
Period. So it just starts like with people being like, oh, well, some jibby jabbies are okay though, right? Nope, none of them are. They all kill people though, right? Every single ailment we can probably say is that. Like I'm over just letting people be like, I don't want people to think I'm anti all jibby jabbies. Yes, I want them to think I'm anti all big pharma. I want them to think I'm anti all of it. Like all the things that they think are crazy, I don't care anymore. Like, I don't care. I'm over placating. And I'm like, are we going to be real? Are we going to call spades spades? Let's fucking go.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Shoes. Let's see.
What is real? Who is real? Are we real? Are any of us real?
In regards to masks?
Yeah, is anybody putting on being real? Is anybody being authentic?
I mean,
or are we just playing our
like,
own bullshit tapes that we've learned?
You remember like weighted grades in school, where if like whoever got the highest grade, they only got like an 89. If the teacher was cool, then like the 89 was now 100, and everyone got graded accordingly. So it's relative. So I always kind of think like that. So if it is real, then we're all relatively real. So I don't think there would even be an absolute scale. Like that scale wouldn't exist.
So what is authenticity then? Like, and showing up, like ghosting people? Is that showing up?
I don't know. I don't think it is. But what is ghosting people? Is somebody ghosting you?
Yeah. Well, while I'm ghosting a lot of other people, ghosting all the narcissists in my life, shutting out every single one of them for ones that you hope would not ghost you, but they do. So what's real? Who's real? Who's going to show up when you're really in the dirt?
I believe in my life personally, I have showed up so much that I have left a foundation of showing up. And when I needed it, I didn't need to ask anyone. They just showed up for me because I laid a foundation over the last 40 years of my life of fucking showing up. And that's what I believe is real. I believe you get what you give. And sometimes when you find yourself all alone, maybe you didn't show up for everyone all the time for the last X amount of years.
True.
And sometimes it's a hard fucking pill to swallow. Maybe sometimes our addictions and our selfishness, our shitty jobs, our shitty relationships, maybe they make us not show up for fucking people all the time. But some of us show up regardless.
But when you do start showing up and people still treat you the way you were, it doesn't matter. They still see you as the old person.
But that's up to them. It's not your business how anyone sees you. And you owe it to them. Time is the only thing. You're just singing it until you actually bring it. So all your injury that you caused before of who you were before, that's who you are to them until they have more time with you not causing that trauma. You can't expect just because you decide and you know in your head for however many months or years that it negates the however many decades before, just because you're actually different. You might know it, but the only thing that proves it is you bringing it instead of singing it.
I actually just read this whole article that it takes 2 years of changed behavior to like undo a trauma and build like trust with somebody again over that trauma.
That makes sense because when I got sober, I had to make some amends to my fam, and it took about 2 years for them to like come around. So that's cool.
Does it double every time you relapse? Does it take like 4 years if you screw up after the
No,
first?
yeah, because if you say sorry, and then you do it again, well, that's wrong because that's not an amends. As you say, and you don't do it again, So you change. I like this topic of real and authentic, and where nobody's like authentic because there's different versions of us all the time. We got different personalities. I got this like little kid inside me. Sometimes I like just want like the young donut. The young donut lives in here somewhere. But then there's the older donut who's military, who wants to who talking shit, excuse my language. Didn't mean to say that. I bet you all, we on the Secret Society of Podcasts, but there's different me's, different everybody's, but also me in a group setting. So me in this setting is different than me alone, or me with an individual, with one other person. And a lot of philosophers talked about this. They called it the Ugenwelt, the Midwelt, the Eigenwelt, I think. I don't know the names of it, but there's different versions of us. So like what I think is super important is showing up for yourself, showing up for ourselves. And that is something, for me, it's hard as a type 2 Enneagram, a people pleaser. I'm always showing up for others, which is people pleaser is different than most people. Most people can't even relate to what I'm saying. But if you are a people pleaser, that showing up for ourselves is very difficult. But I think just adding on top of this, talking about showing up, I used to not talk. I never talked. I just listened. I would go to family events and I wouldn't say anything. Nobody wanted to hear from me. I started talking. I started saying stuff. And then I got, like they sit me at the kids' table during the holidays. I'm an adult. Like my family, I'm definitely the black sheep. And then I just started talking more and giving my opinions. But then my opinions got me isolated from groups too. But whatever, like they're not my friends.
I do think we're mirrors. I think when you're certain people get to see your inner child, and other people only get to meet your business. And some people you're on defense with the entire time you're around them. You don't even know. You're just like, oh, this person gets me wrong. And I hung out with one of my internet friends in real life over the last month. She was in town, and I was thinking around her and her family, it brought out my inner child. Like, I wanted to play. Like, I had so much energy, I couldn't even sit still when I was around them. Like, it brought out my like most playful, like, let's go build something, let's do something fun. Whereas her around me, which she was always tired, and it was like, oh, I relax her in a way. I soothe her trauma somewhere. Around me, she's so comfortable that she's like, oh, I can go to sleep. Somebody else will take care of this. This will all be okay. I could go to sleep. Which I was like, huh, like, this is so interesting. Like, we all actually mirror different things to each other. So even though I wanted to go and play, she's like, you're here. Will you cut that fruit? I'm going to take a nap.
It was like an odd couple.
Yeah. So it was just like, I just think it's interesting. Like, those two sides, though, your sleepiness and your inner child, those are your most vulnerable selves that you don't give to everybody. And so, like, when you're goofy or have like a silly joke or like, that's your inner child.
And you provided that safe space for that person. There is very little safe space in the world. Very little.
But you can start providing it like today with every relationship that you meet tomorrow. Like, it is such an easy thing to contour.
Talking like normal
and
people.
Talking. Yeah, but sometimes you have to do it. But stop. Who's the they? Like, I do it. I just know I'm floating through the world and that they're all awkward as fuck and that I just don't care. They're all so worried what everyone thinks. I don't care. And so I'm like, hey, and then usually what I find, people will give you the shit they are desperate to talk about. You'll be like, oh, that's a cute top you're wearing. Oh, thanks. It reminded me of my grandma this morning. What's your grandma's name? Oh, her name was this. They wanted to talk about their grandma so bad. It's just like strangers will give you the thing and then you'll see them leave and you get to like watch them. Like, I just got to experience that with that person. Like, they just told me about their dead husband that they haven't said his name for a whole year. It made them so happy. And then I also say the really cheesy thing that I hope you hear a song today that only he would play for you. And it sounds so corny, but I know they will hear that song because we live in a world of this, and everybody's so scared to admit we live in a world of this that the only way they'll point it out is 11:11. What's your horoscope? They'll only point out these silly magics that we're allowed to point out, but they won't point out this other stuff that people are desperate for connection. They're dying without it. But you have to be the one. If you're called to and you know it, and you're like Gordy in a business suit and tie, they are desperate for that out there. Like, nobody's talking to the cashier. Nobody's talking to their mailman. Nobody's talking. People are, hey, what can I help you with? Oh, you want some cheese? Here, what slice? Talk to the people. They're all people doing the jobs, and we're treating them like robots, while robots are literally taking over their jobs.
Well, not everyone's ready to be talked to either. Like, sometimes you try and talk to the mailman, and you get like a look like, leave me the F alone.
And then I say, have a good day. And it doesn't waste me at all. It's just like if I said to the president at the animatronic thing, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a wax figure. It doesn't hurt my feelings. The wax figure didn't talk back to me. I just move on. And that's how I think of people in the world. If they don't want to talk to me, I'm like, okay, Hall of Presidents. Like, people say the words NPC and shit all the time without even thinking. I just like to be like, okay, like, I didn't resonate with them. They didn't see me. Like, I'm a little fey.
It's so strange, this period of time, having the longest day with the most amount of sunlight with this bright full moon, but it's all occluded by the clouds. So there's this strange dynamic of, well, it's so bright and everything is revealed, but then there's still this level of occlusion and that sort of energy level of, I don't know what I've got myself into tonight. I joined a live stream and I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I'm trying to take notes and get the cues. It's like a masterclass of acting, but I think that's what we're doing when we're trying to try on lines. And I hate to bring it back to like online and Reddit, but there's this culture of moderation on Reddit, and you can see over time internet discourse. So you get the nerds and the geeks, and they're building the technology. And then as soon as we give everybody cell phones and easy access to it, then they start speaking their mind. But when they go to certain groups, certain subreddits to talk about topics, then there's a moderator staff that wants to sort of keep that garden clear, and they want it to have a specific feeling and aesthetic, and they want to just gatekeep everything. And people say gate, well, whatever that means. So then you have like a community based off of a podcast where no one's listening to the podcast, and they're talking on the podcast subreddit. So then there's other subreddits that form because other people are getting kicked out and put into different subreddits to try to categorize things. So when you find a subreddit where you type up a long response and you click post and you come back to it an hour later and a day later and a week later and you see your post is still live, no one's picked it out and thrown it away, and people might comment on it or they might not, but then you're like, wait, I can speak here, I can talk here, I can try to communicate. And we have people from all over the world using translation software to try to speak in English about their own experiences, and they find out that there's like a certain way to go about things. So if they're talking about Midwest Minnesota house etiquette, when you go to someone else's house and they're talking about shoe removal, do you take your shoes off? When you go to someone else's house, do you bring your own clean slippers to put on over your socks so you can have little grippy socks to walk around in someone's kitchen if they let you into the kitchen? So this whole conversation's going on, which would not have been allowed if someone had been like, that's a stupid conversation. But now as a fly on the wall, I'm reading about it, then I'm starting to think about, well, how can I talk about my experiences of visiting other people's houses and wearing shoes or not? And then I had an experience at work on a tree farm where they had expanded this office, and it was the only place that had air conditioning, and we're out in the mud in the field, and our boots are dirty, but they have like a laminate floor, so it's just easy to let it dry and sweep it away. But the wife of the owner, it's a family business, she was just having one of those days where she had to take it on this guy who's welcome in for free food and a cold water during the lunchtime. He's a great employee doing his work, walks in and he tracks in mud. So he leaves his path behind and they trace it back to him. You know, that's the shoe size, that he's muddy boots. So she's taking it out on this guy who just was welcomed in with free food, but then he's like getting yelled at by this woman who doesn't work in the fields. She just shows up sometimes and then leaves sometimes. It's like, who is this lady? Why is he getting yelled at? And it's just the funniest thing ever. So it's like the etiquette of like leaving a mess, and some people have to just be okay with letting guests in and using their toilet and maybe leaving a little bit of a mess in the perfect bathroom because it's a lived-in space. So when we're trying to deal with family after like a period of, well, we're only doing video calls. Now we're getting back to real life and realizing, well, people are messy. They leave DNA behind everywhere. But then if you're like OCD and like wiping everything down, and it's like, well, why are you spending so much time in the bathroom? It's like finding a place to be at rest.
Masturbate, right?
Well,
of course. Obviously, I knew this was going. I'm so glad we finally got to the
you want to let it
Thanks.
out and
Thanks,
relax before you go to a family retreat, right?
Oh, okay.
That probably
we're
a good
talking
idea.
family.
So you're just completely like energy drained, so that they can't take your energy.
There's no energy to take. There's
Unless
no
it's one of those
energy left.
Box Saga family reunions,
Surrender.
and then you want to show up
Right.
fully loaded.
Box Saga family reunion.
I do think there is a difference between surrendering and giving up. I feel like
Yeah,
surrendering is almost
absolutely.
your decision. I would akin it to when my hair was falling out in my hands. When I shaved my head, I surrendered. If I would have just let it keep falling out, I would have given up.
I feel like they're the same word. I mean, we can
No,
play
they're not.
semantics. Like surrender could technically be like a strategic decision that you're making, whereas giving up is kind of like you stop putting effort into something. But
Yeah.
also, those are like the semantic versions because I think they're somewhat interchangeable in most contexts.
It makes me think of Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce, I shall fight no more forever.
Yeah.
But it's the same. It is the same thing, kind
Or
of.
even like in a crazy way, like where you talk about the Medici and like Mary doing the cards. In a way, she surrendered, but she never gave up.
You're right. Yeah. Well, she surrendered because she had to at that point.
That's where I like
But
feel
yeah.
like there's something a part of like the surrendering. It's like something in your internal, like that calling's gone when you give up. Surrendering, sometimes it's just like you physically know there's nothing else you can do in the moment, but you're never going to give up. Like that's a like freedom yell where you watch like Braveheart, where
I saw
like,
Braveheart before he said that. I knew what you're talking about.
yeah, it's like kind of that same idea. Like he never gave up, but maybe he never surrendered either. I don't know. It's so interesting. I'm not a white flag kind of gal.
I like
am
the concept of like the white flag, and then when they show up to take you, then you just bring out the guns and take them all out, like the
Sounds
false
good.
surrender.
A Rise Against song. They have a song about that.
It's those homes with the white to beige carpet. You know that is going to get messy. Why did you have to choose a carpet that children can't play on and then complain about it every time?
That is a thing, though, why people say to take the shoes off inside is because they usually have a kid that just started to crawl, and the kid will put everything in its mouth. And so they have their hands on the floor, too. And so the moms will be like, can you just please take your shoes off at the door while I got a crawling baby? That's what I find in the South if I ever walk in a house where they're like, shoes at the door, and they're not of Asian descent. Do you just assume if you have an Asian friend that you take your shoes off at the door? I do.
I do.
I think if people have a shoe rack by their front door and they're not wearing shoes inside the house, you can almost assume that's what happens, I think.
I've been to some houses where they don't even let you enter the threshold of the house before you remove your shoes. They're like, your shoes are staying outside.
That's weird. They want you to ground out. They're like, come ground out with me. Come in my house and share your grounding energy.
It's like those grippy socks. You know, those grippy socks. Just keep them
The
with you
hospital socks.
everywhere you go. Yeah, the hospital socks.
Carpet
Hospital
is
socks
so
are fun.
gross.
It is so disgusting.
It's so crazy that our parents, but maybe carpets, like, I don't know. Maybe it was part of the reason that the boomers were so. I'll leave it there. I feel like, the X generation were barely not even there. We're just this tiny little blip on the whole generational radar. Even
Did
that,
y'all
what
ever
kind of
like
spell?
wear socks on the carpet and drag your feet so you could shock people?
Oh, yeah.
What did you say? Ted Bundy when you did it? Oh, that was just me. That's just Florida shit.
That's funny.
I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. I do think it is actually crazy. I think that Justin Timberlake being on the thing I heard that I couldn't get past because I'm like, that is a gay guy thing. And maybe I'm wrong. Do straight guys do poppers?
I've never heard of any reason to do poppers aside from make your butthole loose. It's like
That's
the
what I
only
always
reason,
thought.
right?
That's
Wait, explain what a popper is.
I
What's a
thought it
popper?
was
It's amyl nitrate in a little glass vessel, and you crack it, and you basically inhale the gas inside. But it's amyl nitrate, and it's just known to make you loosen up, specifically your butthole.
And this is the thing I can't really get past that maybe it's me and
Medicine.
my Pride Month, but I just saw like reading the whole thing of everything he had and I'm like, poppers, that's bottom shit. Like that's bottom boy shit. You only do that for anal sex. So then I was like, Chaney, you might be brainwashed in your P. Diddy-ness of Justin Timberlake being all wrapped up with Ashton Kutcher and all these other guys. Like maybe it's not a gay thing. Ask the secret society. Maybe someone will be like, no, straight guys do that for blank.
He might
But-
like his prostate. You know,
yeah, but
I mean,
massage
he might
with
want a
what
butt
that you
plug.
need your butthole bigger.
He might need a butt plug.
I know, but why would you need? They have butt plugs of all sizes.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe he likes it big.
I don't know.
And my understanding is like you don't just take it recreationally because now you're just dancing with like a loose butthole. Why would anyone want that?
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, that's what I want you guys to mentally picture now every time you see Justin Timberlake dance.
Is a loose,
Make the
loose
meme
flappy
like-
butthole. Yeah.
we were talking about like the bad boy
Every time
image
he's
too.
Loose asshole.
That is the grossest impression that you've ever done, Gordy.
You're welcome.
Out of all of it, your loose asshole impression, I'm writing it down so that I know.
Loose
dead
Call it
asshole.
out.
LOU.
But DWI is like one of the wackest sort of bad boy things you could do. Like that's kind of like I don't know. Like I'm not a fan of DWIs. I'd rather it be anything other than a DWI.
Yeah, you gotta go Gigi Allen with it.
Well, or like arson or like assault. Even a Winona Ryder, stealing from the Gap or whatever the hell it was. That's more hardcore than a DWI.
Yeah, I mean, he was on enough drugs, and then everybody said he looked fucked up in this concert that he was just up to. But maybe he's really, because they're all involved in a whole bunch of crazy shit. Like, there's a whole bunch of lawsuits going on right now with cryptocurrency. They're all involved in that Bankman Fried thing. Justin Timberlake is also involved with an employment company that comes out of Jamaica that I believe is involved in human trafficking. That there's an account on X, Ariel, and it's a black dude, and he makes a whole bunch of connections to this company. So sometimes I think when there's other shit going on, they'll bury the lead with Monica Lewinsky. They'll tell you about a girl that's 19 so you don't find out about a 12-year-old boy. Like, I think they do this kind of shit. So sometimes when you look up now, Justin Timberlake arrested, it will just have this stuff instead of if there's other criminality and lawsuits going on.
Nice.
Have y'all paid any attention to Stephen Baldwin's his TikTok?
That was weird.
He is fucking no. His whole TikTok is fucking weird. Like he's all on this Holy Ghost thing, and he's calling out Hollywood, but he won't say what it is. But like, because he's trying not to get his TikTok taken down, I guess. But like, he's done stuff like.
Is Stephen Baldwin Q?
I don't think he's Q, but I think he's definitely
he's definitely
wants
not
it all to go
smart
down.
enough to be Q.
No, he's not smart.
He's
Was
definitely
he the
not smart.
mole? Was he on the mole? Corbin
He's
Burnson.
Biodome, but he also his daughter's married to Justin Bieber, and he's another pop star that DUI'd in Miami, just like Travis Scott. And when he was arraigned, that was the first time we saw that lizard eye shit where we were all like, what the fuck? Like, even if you didn't believe in it at all, even if you were like, oh, whatever, cameras glitch and everything like that, that was the first one. I'll pull it up too, where I actually was like, all right, y'all got me on this one. This one's so fucking weird because nothing else around him glitches, just his eyeballs turn into like slits. And so then we see this other picture of Justin Timberlake where there is no way you can tell me he doesn't have slits for eyes. Like, I don't know. I'll pull up the Justin
Yeah, I
Bieber
gotta
one and
see
see
it.
what you think.
I'm usually one of the biggest skeptics of like the video lizard stuff.
Lizard eyes. I like to
I'm pretty skeptical.
look at everything in the Google, so you guys can find it too if you're ever trying to show your friends. Justin Peepers. Justin Peepers. It is this video. Oh, perfect. And it's just gonna play it in a loop, so I don't even have to do anything wild around it.
Mm.
And he blinks to like fix it. But that is the other weird thing I would say about, let's see, I'll put in Justin Timberlake
It's because
mugshot.
it's a GIF and it's not a full video. Like as a video editor,
Yeah, you should
like
see the full video. I'm just not going to find it where it gets me pulled or anything weird. But look at Justin Timberlake's eyeballs. I don't know. He's a weird looking guy, though. He looks like a strung out Alan Thicke or Mike, whatever Alan Thicke's son's name is. I don't know. I think I went to a whole bunch of videos and watched shit that you guys didn't see just then. But whatever. I don't know. Yeah, it could all be a glitch, but you can definitely find that video. I think it was in Dade County that he was arrested for like peeling out wheelies or something when he was on his
right?
rampage.
That one wasn't recent.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Didn't Edward Furlong, he stole boats.
That's way cooler than a DWI.
Yeah, I thought that was kind
Even
of
if
like,
you do
whoa.
it drunk, it's still cooler.
Yeah,
Or
that's
even
like,
stealing a car drunk would be cooler than just the DWI by itself.
if you're a celebrity and you're going to go big, like to get yourself, but maybe that's why they want the DWI so they can have
more
the
celebrity crime to get free PR.
I'm going to start a bar fight. Like a real righteous bar fight. Or like that's the J-Lo P. Diddy. I'm going to like shoot somebody up in a club.
Okay, Jesus. Someone clip that. That's a great clip right there.
Not Pulse nightclub or whatever, that Orlando ritual.
Take out the Einstein bagel next door now.
Einstein bagel. The doctor owns the Einstein bagel in our town. That's neither here nor there. Einstein bagel, patent thief bagel. That's what I think every time I see Einstein.
oh man, there's a conspiracy about me now that the donut's actually a bagel because I'm a Jew.
Is it New York water? New York water bagel?
I swear, like they got some conspiracy about me that the donut is a bagel, and the cat that I got is because I'm into the aliens changing the DNA to turn people into hybrids. So that's what my cat is about.
I feel like at the top of this panel right now, though, we have Gay Jew Shill. Sorry, Gordy and Alan Marcus.
And then
I'm plenty.
People are like connecting
Been
my
called
name.
much worse.
People are like, yo, donut in gematria equals this and connecting it. But they didn't even spell it the way that I spell it. They spelled it just like DONUT.
I won't tell you who, but it's just funny sometimes the stuff you call out, how your biggest frenemies, they're like people that follow you for years, but they hate you. So whatever the thing you call out. So it'll be like, what is this, Sampaku eyes? You know how you'll call out this like
The
thing.
Sampaku eyes.
Yeah, so you'll do it. They'll start recording you and pausing you every time you have Sampaku eyes and start sending it to you.
Yeah.
And I actually know somebody that happens to.
Like I go over the Illuminati symbolism, so I'll like incorporate it into my website because that's what I talk about. Like that's what you come here to learn about them symbols. So I got them symbols, and then people are like, look, oh my goodness, he has the Illuminati I'm like, that's what I talk about. Like of course I'll have that like with it. So it's ridiculous.
One of my favorite subgenres in like the conspiracy realm are the transvestigators for this exact reason. Because if you go into the comments, there's always the one that I'm looking for, and it's like, you look like a dude. You know, if it's like a chick transvestigator, or if it's a guy, it'll be like, you look like a chick. You were born a woman, and it's like it's kind of hard to get out of that. It's like the reverse Uno. You know what I mean? Like you've basically told someone, look, you put like the skull on this chart, and if like the bones match this certain contour, then you're definitely. And then someone will just like take their picture as they're explaining it and put it on the chart and be like, what? This is your info. It's like, I don't know. There's something that's like extra ironic about it that I love.
I think it's so crazy the amount of like you'll do all this work, you'll put out a whole thing, like a whole dig. It's happened to me. Like, let me just use this isn't a person I've done one on, but let me just use Jennifer Aniston as an example. I've attached her to her Greek father and Days of Our Lives and why she did the movie Leprechaun and gone into Friends, all her symbolism around her haircut back when, every movie she did. I break it down, I put it in panels, everything's done. She's a man though. And it makes me like makes me want to flip tables.
Yeah.
Like,
you did all this
shit.
you did all this hard work of connecting dots. But no, you didn't say this though. Yeah, that's funny.
My favorite transvestigation though, for real, is Geronimo. I think Geronimo's a woman, and I think everybody needs to look into Geronimo, from the weaponry to the pictures of her when she was a child to, like, for real, the guns she carried were very female. Medicine woman was a thing that existed.
Could have been a
Medicine
double
man
skull
wasn't
shaman.
always. And I think her being a warrior was very Joan of Arc-esque. She would also sew buttons on herself while she was passed around the World Fair, so she could rip buttons off and sell them to people to eat. So it's just like taking her head would be very similar to like Henry VIII taking all his wives' heads. You keep a powerful skull. So I think the magic skull of these tribes would have been the medicine woman. It would have never been Geronimo. It wasn't, oh, a warrior. That's why it kept his skull, because no one could conquer him. This is literally something I heard in conspiracy for a decade. And I'm like, but he was conquered. Like, why would you want his skull? What would be so important about his skull? Because they said he could predict the future. They said he could do but like there was a whole bunch of other medicine woman tropes about him. So I just think Geronimo, transvestigation.
The one like he was the one that put up a fight. There's the William S. Burroughs Thanksgiving Day prayer, but he just like, thanks to the Native Americans for providing just a modicum of effort.
Geronimo.
Where did Abbie go?
Probably to eat protein.
She's lifting some weights, bro.
I started eating healthy over the last week, so it's been 1 week. And my anxiety is totally gone from cutting out the sugar and whatnot.
Dude, you can heal your brain, but you got to completely cut out all the sugar, all the wheat, all the soy, and that is really hard to do, dude.
It is hard.
It's everywhere.
But I've been so good for 1 week, but I do eat a lot of sugar, like watermelon, mangoes. Like
yeah, but that's natural sugars. That's different. Like the sugars that most Western society eats is processed sugar.
I've been doing that for like a week now. Could we talk about The Office a little bit? Because Geronimo's skull, and there's just so much. I watch The Office every night, and I found some crazy stuff with it.
Yeah, let's talk about The Office. Dwight Schrute, everybody should know, is probably a pedophile, was involved in the Clinton Foundation.
Changed his name for Rainn. Yeah, for sure.
Rainn Wilson, creep show. Anyways, go on.
But Dwight is tight. But Rainn Wilson, forest fire, sketchy. So the Office television show, speaking of Geronimo, there's 15 members of The Office, just like in Skull and Bones, you got 15 seniors. Now, Dwight Schrute on episode 33 did a ritual of the Skull and Bones with bringing BJ Novak into the coffin and whatnot that they did with George Bush and other stuff. And when they were hiring a new manager, they hired almost a Rhodes Scholar. They brought up, we're gonna hire this Rhodes Scholar, but they didn't, and they brought in the Lizard King, and the Lizard King was fabulous actor. What's his name? Harry Met Sally. That guy.
Billy Crystal.
What's his name?
Billy Crystal?
No. Harry Met Sally. So he's the new manager. They hired this guy, and he did Saturnalia orgies by himself. He said that on the show. So they're saying some occult stuff on the show. It's absolutely crazy, but it's so hidden in it. And they throw an Illuminati Eyes Wide Shut pool party. And he said this house was built off of the Eyes Wide Shut. He even says that. And he's like, this is where we're going to play the naughty videos. And then the Lizard King, that's also like the Doors guy's name. So yeah, I just want to bring up The Office a little bit.
Was that like a Halloween episode?
The Halloween episode was really good. What were you thinking about that one?
Well, the Office episode 33, where Jim's trying to get his chair back from Karen. Is that like a throne theme?
Episode 33 of The Office should be called The Initiation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so it's the initiation. It's a ritual. And so with Dwight Schrute throwing this initiation, Dwight Schrute will say nothing but truth. He says money's not real since we got off the gold standard. He talks about the apocalypse, cannibal apocalypse. He brings up nothing but truth in it. He's also a member of a National Socialist group that was in America as well, and he was into alchemy. And he goes into that in the episodes too, just to throw that on top of the weirdness. But throughout the season, Jim Halpert and Pam, they are psychopaths. If you watch the show, you'll see the way they treat people. They only care about themselves, and there's tons of evidence to prove this, but they make it seem like they're the greatest, and like that's what we should model our relationships after, Jim and Pam Halpert. They're very mean to Dwight. I mean, very psychopathic. And throughout this show, Dwight gets introduced to pharmaceuticals. And the pharmaceuticals he starts taking, and his personality changes, and he becomes in love with his servitude, with his masters of Jim Halpert and Pam. And he goes in 100% and loves his enemy. So there's also a very subtle story being played out in The Office that is absolutely nuts.
I saw interesting, it was probably some crappy Reddit subreddit thread, but they were talking about the evidence that Pam is a psychopath, and one of them was that she had this the art like the art expose
the hotel
episode,
art, yeah.
and she was so upset that nobody showed up for her except for like Michael and a couple other people, but she even noticed it.
Yes.
But the point was like every time that whoever the big kind of dumb dude was, every time that he wanted to go out and play music in a bar or something, Kevin, or like anyone else had something going on, she would never even consider showing up for any of that. And that it just kind of, there was a whole bunch of different examples of that. Pam was actually a bad guy. Like she was the villain in that show.
Oh yeah. It's like also the office building is a money laundering warehouse. Dwight brings it up subtly. He's like, there's little evidence of it being a money laundering building. And Creed is in insurance, and he shows up murdering people on the Halloween episode. He has blood all over him, and they're like, we found the Scranton killer, or there's like, not that Scranton killer, but Creed is doing assassinations because there's like no reason for him to be working there. It's just there's a lot in that show that's wild. And if you watch the first episode of The Office in the UK, it's identical to the first Office episode in the US. But it's written by the people that write The Simpsons.
That's what I always wonder is like certain people. I heard you call it something tonight on your show, like they nudge us.
Oh,
They nudge
yeah.
us. And I thought that was a good word because I think we have to, with tiny little bits of them showing us certain things on TV, we accept when it happens so easily. It's like they nudge us toward things. You were using it toward psychedelics. And I think like with Joe Rogan, with the legalization and of it in a lot of the states, like it, marijuana isn't the gateway drug for us, but it was always going to be the gateway drug for them. And so that even legalization process of them slowly being able to mix it all into big pharma, so now they can use it in psychoactive therapies and all these other ways that they have always been doing to MK Ultra people. It's just hella dangerous. It's like everybody's on a microdose, everybody's has 5G towers, and now everyone's watching these same Netflix shows.
Yes. And the nudging came from Cass Sunstein, who was awarded onto the Obama administration after writing his essay on how to dilute conspiracy theories from the truth of 9/11. So he wrote that, and then he got awarded, and he's the guy who wrote the book called Nudging. So it is absolutely a marketing tool that they use at the movie theater. They show popcorn, people go buy popcorn. They show psychedelics. People would do and I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or a good thing. I am saying, and I think they should legalize it. I think they should legalize everything.
They think you should make it all mandatory.
Yeah, I know we talked about that too. Yeah, maybe. But there's this thing that Timothy Leary took part in Harvard called the Concord Prison Experiment. He did these things, psychedelic psilocybin test on prisoners to turn them into good citizens. Now, we were all prisoners in lockdown. We were all stuck in our homes. And when we were released, well, then that's when the psilocybin was trending. I mean, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And there is a social engineering aspect to it.
That would have been, just hear me out. That would have been the perfect time in our lifetimes for the government to ever give mandatory, psilocybin. Like you're locked in your house. You can't go out for any reason. You can't even go to the grocery store for 2 months. Here's some mushrooms. Figure everything out.
But they did it after it.
Kind of in Oregon, in California, they did it like right during. So everybody kind of got that psychedelic dose right at the beginning. But you also look at all the places where people like the blue hairs, the Zimzers, it is in specific places. It's in specific places in the world. And it's like they're looking out of a fish tank bubble of like what they think the world looks like. But there's like fish tank glass in between that it's like, no, it's not real. The world's not like this out here. But we've kind of let Hollywood and DC pull us by our nose. Like everybody with their screens and they're like, oh, I'm picking my own poison. But I think it's the nudging in these shows that is doing it. It's not that you're watching something, taking in a whole concept and it's totally changing how you and your family eat. But look at how quickly everyone became vegan because of 3 documentaries. And Bill Gates' meat doesn't sell unless everyone's vegan first. So it's just like this kind of nudging in lifestyle, but then that's also them having to sell part of the global warming is part of your cow farting and part of the danger. And you're a really bad person for, buying into this whole thing. So wouldn't you feel better just if you got your meat from a lab and then look at all these dead chickens and pigs and cows from mad animal disease? It just seems like all those are little nudges. So eventually you're like, but this is just healthier for me, I guess. Yum, 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 yum.
Are there many vegan bodybuilders, or is that like an unheard of thing?
There are people who try. I mean, but they have to do a lot of plant-based protein, and it's. I mean, you almost need 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and if you're in a bulk, like, I mean, shit, I'm eating like 174 grams of protein a day. Most people only eat like 30 because they're not even paying attention to what they eat, and so yeah, I mean, it would be really hard. Especially because soy is like kind of the antithesis to building muscle because it's so high in estrogen. So you have to do like pea protein. I don't know. I couldn't see it. There are vegan bodybuilders, but I don't think any of them really go pro.
No, I've been cleaning my diet up, Abbie, and I have just stopped eating so many foods, and it's been a week, and all my anxiety gone. I was like freaking out, and like I just stopped eating. I stopped vaping and the nicotine gum too, but I started smoking organic American spirits. But I feel much better. It's crazy, and I think it is the food, all the oils and all that. But I mean, like, I just cleaned up the diet for the last week.
Inflammation and acidity too, because sugars alone cause your body to be acidic. So it's like, I don't know. There's so many. Diet is so important, and I mean, seriously, I measure everything I eat just now. Like I could tell you exactly how much I ate: 104 grams of flat iron steak, 2 whole eggs, a cup of green beans, and 32 grams of peanut butter. I measure everything because, like, and it's really clean eating. Even though I do eat a lot of meat, but I'm not eating inflammatory foods. I don't really eat a lot of wheat like I can during my cheat meals and stuff. I don't eat sugars like. It's if I do, the only sugar that I really eat is honey, like natural honey. But and that's just on one meal, you know. But everything else, my sugars come from rice, rice and oats and stuff like that. Just stuff that's not really very inflammatory. But inflammation in your body, like a lot of that causes such inflammation in your body that it is going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause a whole bunch of health issues, but also mental health issues. So yeah.
Do you think that most kids that are on some kind of like behavioral drug or something or SS, like they're just eating piss poor?
100,000%. Yes.
100%.
And like this is a huge conspiracy.
It's diet is so related to that because think of it. If you have inflammation in your gut constantly, and you don't even really know it because your gut doesn't hurt anymore. It's used to this level of inflammation all the time. I mean, it's going to cause behavioral issues, especially in a child, you know? I don't know.
And skin disorders. I feel like there's so many people with skin disorders. That's your biggest organ that's trying to tell you that something's wrong in your body. So if you have dry, scaly, patchy lizard skin, you need to change things that you're eating. You need to change things that you're intaking into your body. You can fix that. You don't have to just accept that you are like, this is how gross my disgusting lizard patchy skin is. And so when people have this for children, you're like, you as a parent are allowing your kids to eat poison, and the skin is the biggest organ trying its hardest to take the brunt of that damage so the organs don't. But all that patchy skin is something that the organs are dealing with every single day. And so it's like pretty much everything on your skin is something that your organs are dealing with.
And I would say pretty much every autoimmune disorder, like that's not natural for your body to attack itself. It's attacking itself because you're freaking putting shit in it that fucking shouldn't be there. That is causing an inflammatory response.
Why are you attacking yourself? Why are you attacking yourself?
Quit hitting
Why
yourself.
are you hitting yourself? Yeah. You quit hitting yourself. It does fucking matter. But even that, so if we can say like us in our adult way, like, oh my gosh, I ate like shit last night and I felt like shit for 2 days. Imagine what kids can't tell us. It like most of you out there are unintentional and unaware of like how much your diet's affecting you every day. You're like, oh my gosh, I have a migraine twice a week. Stop eating McDonald's.
If you're not shitting every day, like every day, and I probably
the fact that we have to say these things is just mind-numbingly maddening.
I
How
find it
stupid
so weird
people
how
eat.
many people
We weren't
are
parented.
on.
No,
Some
we
people
weren't.
are on.
Listen, we weren't raised right.
We weren't raised at all.
We
We
weren't
were
raised
fucking
right.
feral.
We were.
You know how
we're
many people
still
I know
feral.
who
It's
have
fine.
to take shit to take like what's it called, laxatives to shit. It's like if you're not shitting right and you have autoimmune disorders, I can tell you right
Yeah.
there, that's the problem. It's
Oh
what
my
you're putting in
gosh!
your body.
Here's another weird thing I just
Stupid.
feel like I have to put out here. Here's a conspiracy, everyone. If you have hemorrhoids and you are using baby wipes or some sort of wipes every day, quit using those wipes and your hemorrhoids will go away. You're chapsticking your asshole and your asshole cannot produce its own shit. And so it is blistering like that. Stop using the chemicals on your ass and stop using them on your baby's ass. Just saying, stop using these fucking chemicals everywhere. People are wondering what the hell's going on with their body. And I'm like, look how many chemicals. You're sitting in a bath full of chemicals. Like,
And your
That
sunscreens
hand sanitizer on too, man.
and your hand sanitizer and all your fucking bug sprays and shit. Ugh.
We're talking nudging.
People are
You remember all those commercials about
Animal
the
tax, right.
benefits of fresh breath? Now let's talk about the Listerine and all the alcohol that just kills the biome that's in your mouth, that helps you with salivation and tasting foods and having a proper ability to taste foods. So you're wondering why you've got plaque in the arteries, you got plaque in the teeth, and they're like, well, just, scrape it off and then use Listerine, and then it comes back again. Well, why does it keep coming back? Because there's something not balanced in the mouth biome. And what are the problems that are caused by that first point of contact with food? Your tongue and your mouth and your teeth. Like, you've just completely scraped your tongue off. You've gone and done the Listerine thing. You've over-flossed. So you've just irritated your gums, causing them to bleed.
no one should floss.
And then you go and you bleach your teeth. And then you're ready to eat. And then you go and eat something. And now you got to go the routine all over again because your teeth don't feel clean. So what's that all about? The nudging of, oh, your breath isn't fresh. Have to have fresh breath all the time.
If you just surrender to the fact that your teeth will feel like sweaters sometimes, just let it go.
If you're not eating a high sugar
release
diet,
it.
they shouldn't feel that bad most of the time.
Yeah, you shouldn't. If you're
Yeah,
not
if you're
eating,
not
shit,
eating, like, all the shit that makes your breath really stink is like acidic shit. Like, if you're like all the stuff like coffee, like it makes your mouth smell like caca. I don't mind some pipes
And
though.
Riggs
Some
in the
tobacco.
comments, he said, didn't Abbie say that if you're shitting right, you shouldn't really need a lot of toilet paper? That is true. Like,
that's true.
that's where fiber
It's
comes
true.
in. Like, if you take
Mhm.
like Metamucil at night, like, you should, if you're eating right too, it should help you shit, obviously. But when you shit, you should only have to wipe like once. That's it. That's how you shit right. If you're shitting right, you don't have to use a whole roll of toilet paper.
Huh.
I don't know if this was just me growing up, but for like the longest time, I think it was in like middle school, all the cool kids had Banaka. Like and if you didn't have Banaka, then like you were like the po folk, and you weren't allowed in certain. And it was like, yeah, like everywhere I was going, you'd just hear people going like spraying it like nonstop. And I mean, and after that came the little strips because they started banning Banaka, because then people would like spray it in each other's eyes and stuff. It got like crazy. But I mean, just what were we doing? Like shocking our little 12-year-old poor tongues with just alcohol all day, every day.
12-year-olds aren't going around kissing everybody they walk past.
But you want to be
But
prepared.
we wanted
You
to.
got like a wallet in your.
Are you Ellen?
Wallet. Or a condom in your wallet, and like in like middle school, you got the Banaka. You're like good to go.
Was it Dumb and Dumber where he's all and spraying to the side?
Yeah. That was Banaka.
Every time I see
wasn't it?
Banaka, I always think of that scene.
I don't know. My breath smells so good all the time. But when you guys get 5D
That's
and
another benefit of
6D,
5D. Exactly.
you'll like
Breath
shitting won't
smells.
be
You don't
this
have to spit.
issue. Your breath doesn't smell.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can't wait
If your
till you
tongue
guys
is
all
white, I bet
level
your
up.
breath smells. Actually, your tongue is white. You got freaking candida overgrowth, and you need to
Well,
freaking fix
here's
that
the
shit.
other thing. Candida, I was going to bring up the yeast overgrowth with everything. Your dog's ears, your vagina, your eyeballs, your nose. There's yeast overgrowth everywhere. Even the word candida. We used to never know this word. We know this word because it's yeast overgrowth. And so somewhere I feel like this isn't just all the sugars, it's all the antibiotics. It's
Yeah. Oh
working
yeah.
together to make us very yeasty. And by us, I mean you guys, because I don't deal with the yeast in the 5D.
Period.
But it does seem like it's a very bready, faux bready society. Like everybody in America is just plumping up like a bad bread roll.
I
That's
watched this video the
what
other day
it
where the
is. The
girl's like,
worst thing for you is bread and sugar. The worst thing for you is a donut.
I did
"Oh my
read
god, but they're
actually
good for the
donuts,
soul."
hot dogs, and there was
All
like
right.
3 things that they were like, you should never eat these things. And it was like donuts, hot dogs, and one more thing I can't remember.
Ozempic.
I don't remember. Yeah, Ozempic. It's funny.
Ozempic in your
We
Pez
go off on
dispenser.
Ozempic on the show.
Yeah.
Are like hot dogs better than marshmallows?
I
Marshmallows
think
are
it's
probably
that
only like
your
3
body
ingredients.
doesn't know how to process hot dogs. It's not the
It's the
ingredients of
processing.
these things. It's so processed with the skin around it. Your body has to send it over and over again through the churner. It doesn't know
Because
how to get
isn't
rid
it
of it.
plastic? Because they don't use like intestines for hot dogs. So
And that's what donuts, because of it being like grease soaked
Gelatin.
dough a lot of the time, your body just keeps churning it, like trying to get rid of the nutrients out of it. So it's like there's something about not necessarily the ingredients, but how they're made.
Donuts lower the sex drive.
fried dough,
Good
period.
luck.
Because I remember I used to always get like I grew up by the res and everything, and we'd get like Indian tacos, and every time I got an Indian taco, I'd get sick as fuck. And I know it's just like the fried dough.
Yep.
I was reading some other really crazy article this week that said that there's like something like 800 transformers a year. I think it was in like Kenya, but you could just kind of like throw a dart at one of the countries. But that like 800 transformers a year are vandalized because people take the oil outside of the transformers and they sell it to street vendors, which then use it to like make chips and donuts or whatever and like sell to people. But it's absolutely not even like food quality oil. Like it's made for being inside of like these massive transformers. And like this is like I almost feel that that's what's next for us. It's not going to be bugs. It's not going to be like they're going to get us off of seed oils, because the next thing coming in is just going to be the same stuff that like keeps the computers super cooled.
But they've already done that. They've done like they've added oleo, OLEO. If you see that as an ingredient, that's literally plastic. That's why it's like fat-free oils, because
Is it the
it's
same as Olean?
plastic. Yes,
Remember
Olean.
Olean from like the 90s?
Olean, cholesterol. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but they just got oleo now.
The petroleum byproduct.
Oh, all back to that petroleum again. It's something, even if you look at all your medications, all your vitamins, all your pills, the binder in those things or the capsule that they're in, if it's not vegan, this is where vegan's good. It's sometimes something that your body cannot process at all. So you're like taking these vitamins every day, but you're also taking this weird kind of microplastic into your stomach every day, causing a whole different issue, and your body doesn't even know how to digest those vitamins.
And that's why y'all have plastic in your balls.
Ball plastic just feels like a psyop, doesn't it?
Right? Yeah,
Been
doesn't it
telling
seem like
everyone,
such a
just
fear
so you
tactic?
know, if you
Yeah,
have
plastic.
microplastics in your balls.
But then I think about it, and it's like, you know how much of our clothing now is polyester? Like all the wicking
Yeah.
shirts and the underwear.
Mhm.
So men are
Oh.
putting fucking plastic underwear right up next to their nuts. Like, so
And it's
in a
hard to find
way,
real stuff. They make
yeah.
it
Oh,
really
no.
hard to find the good stuff.
Oh, I had to like search for 100% cotton, and then
Yeah.
even then I still had to check and make sure that it was 100% cotton for my children.
hmm
Microplastics in your balls. I don't know, you guys.
I don't
I
know
believe
either.
you can be absorbing it, and I do believe it
So
makes
why
the
would it just be in your
estrogen
balls?
level. Yeah, like it makes me feel like they show us these fish occasionally, like jaws cut open and the
It's gonna collect in your
driver's
balls.
license falls out, and then we're all like, "Oh my gosh, what is that shark capable of?"
I
Like
feel
I
like
just
my balls are too big to even feel the little microplastics. I think it's something for people with micro penis to worry about.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's what
somebody
I
else's
feel
like
like.
energy.
Yeah, I was wondering how microplastic got through brass.
Microplastics on the top of isolated mountains.
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 Mountains. That sounds like
I like
a
that
candy
better.
without almonds.
It's everywhere, but I think microplastics is like the silver lining, right? Is that there is something that like we all universally share, like the "we are one" concept. But now it's just the microplastic in your balls are the same as on like the tip of a penguin's nose, on the top of a mountain, in the bottom of the sea. Like that's like a universal thing that we can all share now.
Do we have to accept, like, what is this thing that they're trying to get us to accept with plastics? Like, if that's the AI's goal, is to just overcome us in this plastic paradise.
I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie,
Barbie
world.
Hear me out. Maybe it's because when they start like exposing people in the near future that like their DNA or their makeup is like semi-plastic, right? Like it comes out as artificial. They'd be like, oh, it must have been the microplastic made its way into the sperm, and then that made its way into the egg, and that's why they're not clones, they're not artificial clones. It's actually just because the microplastics did something. We're still trying to figure it out.
Plastic surgery.
Yeah, like if they can make us a little plastic with all injections, they're putting a little metal in us. It is kind of like they're making us this little computerized robot. Like maybe we won't be able to tell the difference. Like you have plastic in your balls. What's the difference if you're hooking up with this plastic balled robot?
What if
Plastic titties.
like almost like the Zechariah Sitchin, where humans were placed on this planet to mine gold and other precious resources for some alien class. But wouldn't it make more sense if we were put on the planet to just make as much plastic as possible, and that's what the aliens are using us to farm? Because it seems like by far that's our biggest export as humans at this point, would just be the
Yeah,
creation
gold's
of
not
petroleum.
for real. Like there's not that much gold here. It's scarce, so why would they go to
Doesn't-
other planet? with
like,
more-
It's really
What
not
about
that
if-
scarce. It's just hard to get.
What about if we just have to believe in all the microplastics and everything so we don't know the plastic dissolves back into oil and then we just pump it again? That would make it replenishable. What if the plastic actually does break down and become oil again? And that's why they're finding all these reservoirs in the ocean. They're like, we got to follow the trash patch. Like even the idea that if this is the thing about the
Straws.
trash
Oh,
patch.
God.
We all learn about the trash patch. There's a spot in the ocean. All the trash makes its way to. Oh, are you telling me that there is a natural place that we know all the trash is going to go to? So why don't we build a structure there to just mine it right from there? Like
I'm just going to throw all my trash in the ocean. That sounds like it's just a shortcut. Like, why even go
self-cleaning.
through all the
That's
other
why
stuff?
they call it Old Navy, and they make performance fleece out of all the plastics they find.
Well, my friend works for the recycling in Tulsa, and he said, like when you can recycle your plastic bags at Walmart and all that, he goes, you don't even recycle them. All we do is put them on a barge and ship them to India. Like India just takes it and it's in a fucking. They're not recycled. They're just thrown out in the fucking land there.
There was a good like litmus test, and I can't remember where this is from. It might have been like an old Penn and Teller bullshit episode, but they made a great point that the only places where recycling actually makes sense is where they incentivize it with money. Those are the places where it's like turn your bottle in for 5 cents or
Oregon
7
and California,
cents or whatever.
yeah.
And if you don't live in one of those states where you can turn it in, then essentially you're just paying someone to sort it and then throw it out or just ship the trash off to someone else. And very little of that ever gets recycled. None of the plastic, none of the paper, almost none of the glass at all. So like a lot of it is just industries that are being propped up just for the sake of sort of the PR and like the concept of waste management.
Waste management is a 33. Like if you look at it, symbolism, it's just 3, 3. And the mob used to be able to figure out every single thing about a person by going through their trash. Now we're like, here, take our trash. We'll separate it for you. So it makes it easier. Everything has a barcode on it. I use my barcode to buy the barcode, and then the barcode goes in the trash, so they know exactly the whole life of the barcode.
I
We
wrote
made it very easy.
I wrote a poem about trash.
Is it about Madonna?
No, it's about, I tried to intermingle being sexy and taking the trash out, because everybody know taking the trash out is just a manly thing to do. So it was more of a romantic poem.
Are you gonna read it?
I want, yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I'll read
ready.
it. Yeah,
It feels divine masculine
Yeah,
to take
you're
the
setting
trash
us up.
out.
Let me see if I have it written somewhere. Oh, it's right here.
Knock us out.
I'm ready.
I make taking out the trash sexy. I make taking out the trash sexy as fuck. I look sexy when I'm taking out the trash. I make taking out the trash look sexy as fuck. Dumpster truck. I smash. Then I take out your girlfriend's trash. I make guys go the F word. I'm not going to say it. F-A-G. I make guys go F-A-G. When I take out garbage bag, I'm meaner than all-purpose multi-surface cleaner. I do the dishes. I do the laundry. Best back up off me. Trash. Yep, that's it. Trash.
Love
bag.
it. Love it.
Making guys go effigy.
Effigy. There you go. That's a way to say that.
Taking the trash out is divinely masculine.
It is. I kind of like get pissed if I have to take it out with all the men in my household.
Do you have
Yeah.
wicker basket trash cans?
It was just a poem about service, of like being full of service for the one you love, you know?
I liked it.
Love it.
It was original.
I performed it at a tweaker convention. It was actually a LGBTQ plus tweaker 12-step convention, and I wasn't even aware of that. So when I could have said the F word, because I wasn't saying it like to be disrespectful. It was comedy, and I won it.
You won at MethCon. Best poem at MethCon.
Yeah.
Do you win meth for winning anything at the MethCon?
You know what? I left. So when they announced the winner, I wasn't even there, which made me even look cooler.
They were like, who was that masked man with the trash poem?
He left behind this one shoe.
One red shoe. We should have Tom Hanks play him in a movie. Sorry. All roads lead to Tom Hanks eventually. What else happened in the zeitgeist this week? We had the solstice, which none of us know what full moon it's in.
I think it's Capricorn, but
We all had a different guess.
there was a lot going
Everybody's
on
dying.
in the news.
That's what's happening.
There's fires happening. Fires all over the place. You got aliens in the news. That's a huge story.
Aliens again in the news?
Yes.
Why are aliens
Why is
in
it
the
a huge
news
story?
again?
Because nobody cares.
No,
Yeah, but
people
About
care.
aliens.
Like,
Do they?
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
putting
yeah, they
aliens
do.
in.
The
About aliens.
Okay, for example, you got Logan Paul just interviewed Donald Trump and they highlighted it. The president of the United States, they highlighted the UFOs and talking about it. Now, in the debates coming up, mainstream news is talking, or the president's going to talk about the UFOs. You got Harvard people saying that there's this 7-star alien like planets that they found. It's all in the mainstream news. You got Billy Carson saying that the aliens showed up at his house, told him to go to a website, which was his website where you can subscribe to. And he also said that Jesus was an alien on Joe Rogan. Like the mainstream, like we're not mainstream. The mainstream is all about it. And it goes back to H.G. Wells and the social engineers of society that we live in.
Do you think also the Romulus Alien Resurrection movie, isn't that coming out next month?
Oh, snap.
What?
Like the
Why
new
H.G. Wells?
Alien.
H.G. Wells?
Why
He
was
wrote
it
War of
just
the
H.G.
Worlds.
Wells? I know, but that wasn't the first.
Well, I know there's others. I'm not, I'm not like a sophisticated man. I am just a normal guy.
Just a trash man.
Just taking the trash out.
The sexy trash man.
Just a sexy
just
trash poet.
Here to take the trash out.
There's another thing in the news. I don't think I brought this up last week, but the bump stock and the arm brace rules got reversed, which is kind of a big deal. The one that Donald Trump unilaterally decided he was just going to ban bump stocks and we'll figure out the law later. Well, it got fought back, and then the arm brace one has been like going back and forth with the ATF for the longest damn time. And it's one of the, I don't know if anyone knows or even cares about this, but it's like, if you have like an AR-15 pistol, for example, then it's very uncomfortable to shoot because it just has like a little nub sticking in the back, and there's no real easy way to get it. Same with like an MP5. You can't just hold an MP5 out without some sort of a brace attached to it. If you add an actual stock to it, now it becomes a short-barreled rifle, and you've got to register with the ATF and go through all these hoops. Or you can get what they call an arm brace, which is kind of like dual purpose. So like one version of the arm brace is that it's got like a little plastic flap, and you can open the flap up, and then this part like cups around your arm, and then you can use Velcro to like strap it to your arm. But no one actually uses it like that, but that's what it's kind of designed for. You can also just not open that little flap and just shoulder it. And that's kind of like been this huge point of contention for the longest damn time. And it just keeps like going back, and like literally like the range that I want to go to for a few months there, like I would have to show an NFA tax stamp that, I could shoulder this thing. And even before that, when it was like in dicey areas, I remember at some ranges, the RSAs or even other people there would be like, oh my God, he just shouldered, that arm brace. Are you allowed to do that? Where it was literally like, if you put it up in your shoulder, you're now committing a crime. But if you don't put it on your shoulder and you strap it around your arm, you're not. I don't know. Am I the only one that cares about this? This was like a huge thing for me in the news.
No, I care about it too. I think at any time, it's just so. I always like, I'm going to say it for everything. Should the government? No. The government has nothing to do with, but I also wondered with the like bump stock or like being able, how much shit was 3D printed in that time. Like it really showed people how to be innovative for this little period of time where they were like, I don't care. I don't even need that. Like they just came up with all these other ways and all these other, like, I'll just 3D print that and make it out of plastic. And it was kind of wild, the stuff that I saw people do with their own guns, that I was like, huh. Or I didn't even know the amount of like semi-automatic, automatic, just pistols people were making into rifles. I was kind of impressed. Americans are innovative when it comes to weaponry.
I've got an uncle that passed away now, but he was in the Vietnam War, and he was one of those people that never really came back from war, even though he was like lived the rest of his life in Long Island. But like his pride and joy was that he had a 50 cal rifle and a 50 cal cannon, which was basically a rifle just mounted to like the ground, almost like a mortar. But he could put like both of them together and take them completely apart with 2 different Allen wrenches, and everything was made out of pieces from Home Depot. Like every single part in the entire gun, which was highly illegal. I found out in retrospect.
There's so much about guns that I didn't realize was illegal until I'm like, oh, I guess you're not allowed to mail that. I know people that got in trouble for some things. I'm like, I guess you learned the hard way.
It's so weird though, because I've sent a gun out to get serviced before, and I could send that to my FFL, and the FFL can send it elsewhere, and then they were able to send it directly to me, like at my house, which was kind of wild. And it's weird. It's just like if someone dots an I, all of a sudden it's a felony or it's not a felony.
Oh, gun shows. That is one of the things about Florida is every other weekend within a 50-mile radius of you can go to a gun show.
It's all the same damn company though. Like you never find the good
around.
deals there. It's like one company, and they created a whole bunch of shell companies. So they throw like the Titusville Gun Show and the Daytona Gun Show, but it's all like the one place, and they sort of have like a monopoly on the price. I don't want to go on a whole Florida gun show rant, but it's like fake as hell.
Just go
It's
to
a
a pawn shop.
conspiracy. Here's the other thing, real quick. When we do our meetup in October, we're gonna do Bohemian Grove. That will be part of it. Another part of it, if you guys are coming out, will be Abbie's 21st birthday celebration. And then another part of it that I think will be so fun, because when I was in Orlando, and then Thomas wrote me like, have you been to Gun World? And no, I haven't been to Gun World.
Shooter's World.
Oh, Shooter's World. Tell me about Shooter's World.
I mean, it's not super frilly, but it's basically a 2-level, technically a 3-level, but like a 2-level all indoor, air conditioned. It's like a super Walmart, except they've got like 50 gun bays, including indoor 100-yard like rifle range, and every one of the different lanes has like the electronic, jimmies that go in and out, and you can set like times for it to spin around and kind of like fully programmed. So I don't know. It is like
Can you rent a whole bunch of weaponry there?
You can bring damn near anything. I've got a friend that brought his 50 cal there, and they didn't. I mean, they'll put you away from everyone else, but you can do pretty much anything. You can even do rapid fire. Like you can shoot as fast as you want, which some ranges are real weird about that. They make you wait like 2 or 3 seconds between. Like almost anything goes there as long as you're not being an absolute jackass. But like I just go there, I've got my Bluetooth like headphones. I'll just put on some like smooth jazz or something and just like zone out for like an hour or 2.
So this is going to be another part of the fan meetup. You hear that, Hillary? You'll have me in a gun range.
It was dude, it's so close to where the Holy Land experience used to be. Like it's gone now, but it's right down the road from there.
Oh, the Holy Land experience is gone. I was telling them about it.
It's the Ark Encounter in Kentucky.
Well, you now have the
America.
best one. That's the only one left now.
The
You know about this guy, Ken Ham? He's got this life-size model of Noah's Ark somewhere in Kentucky. And because of reasons of the rainbow being a symbolic covenant of saying God will never flood the earth, he'll never destroy the earth with the flood again, Ken Ham has his ark in Kentucky covered in rainbow lighting all summer long, including the month of June. So people are discovering that for the first time and thinking that's kind of a chuckle-worthy event.
Isn't it also crazy how many of these televangelists seem so gay? Like they seem so gay. Like
gay for Jesus.
The kind of gay that puts lip gloss on.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, that's where they all hide. They like to hide there in churches.
Well, a lot of data results have come out that the biggest like cross-dressers is Republicans in the data, which is hilarious. But have you also 50% of the popes are same-sex attracted as well, which I thought was interesting. So there's all this like data out there with Google that is just mind-blowing.
Okay, I have to say this really quick. Noah's Ark, the Ark of the Covenant, the rainbow is the Ark of the Covenant because it is the covenant. Because I don't know. I'm sorry. Like my head just did this thing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And there's a Mar-a-Lago.
Covenant with man.
It's an arc.
It's in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
The Raiders of the Lost Ark recreation of that thing is in Mar-a-Lago, and people were taking pictures with it.
We saw that with that chode from Veritas, not Veritas anymore. That guy's controlled op to me.
That guy wasn't
James
doing
O'Keefe.
some, like, weird.
James O'Keefe. He's such controlled op. Like he showed us, here's some person on a Bernie pole thing in the middle of nowhere. He said the word gulag. When we all knew real shit was going on, he was always there to like be a golden carrot so you'd run around the track one more time while he sang YMCA on stage, like pretending he was a prisoner of the reporter. I'm just a real reporter. Whatever. I think he's like...
People believe it, though. People will fall for stuff all the time.
Oh, I know. I watch them all the time. That's why I always am like, okay, why is everything saying this thing right now? Why are both sides saying this thing right now? Why do they want us to believe we're going into a third world war? Why do they want us to believe? They're not telling us any truth. Stop debating with sides that you heard on Fox News or CNN or read in one of the 4 papers owned by one of the 4 men that's running the world. Like, what information do we really know? We don't. Right. So then I always am like, why are they trying to convince us of this thing? Why are they trying to convince us of what I'm calling a holographic apocalypse? Because it's not a real virus. It's not a real famine. It's not a real war. If I can put my hand through all of it and it's not real, then it's not a real apocalypse. So it's just wild.
As far as the whole draft shit go, can I just say this? Like, instead of like the 60s where we had draft dodgers and shit like that, can we all just say, fuck no, we're not doing that? Because none of us want to be involved in fucking foreign ass wars anyway that have nothing to do with us and they're just money laundering schemes.
Yeah, so
I'm not allowing the youth I know to go, period. If that
you saw that
happen.
they're allowing women, they open the draft for women as well.
The thing
I think none of them nobody should have to fucking... We're not
They had to
participating.
open up the draft for women because they've messed around with the pronouns so much. They can't have all these people saying like, I'm a Zimze toaster oven. I can't join. So they're like, nope, we're taking toaster ovens. Get in line.
A lot of women are very, very talented at Fortnite. And that is what will be used for the new 5th generation warfare. It's not going to...
They're all being used. Every single video game you've ever played was a job to get you used to fighting.
Yeah, so it's
Ender's Game. You ever heard of Ender's Game?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
What's it called?
Ender's Game. He was a messiah that was trained by video games,
Is
and
it a
then
movie?
brought into
Yeah, it's a movie with Harrison Ford if you need a movie
the
version.
book.
Oh, it's a book.
Yeah.
Too. Oh,
Book made-
Reindeer Games. Yes.
No, Ender's Game.
Ender's Game.
Ender. Okay, I'll watch it tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
But what was it? A Messiah?
Well, in the books, he becomes kind of their messiah.
And
You'd have to
really
read
good
it.
at video games.
And so, like, it's unpopular right now. People aren't really interested in going to war. Well, they will be once sleeper cells get activated, and I think that will be intentional, just like 9/11.
On our homeland, but if it's like foreign war shit,
Yeah, on our homeland, and then I think it matters where your feet rest on your homeland. Do you see how Thomas and I just carried on a whole conversation about guns and guns world and what we're allowed to bring to gun world?
Yeah.
The reason there can be a Walmart-sized gun world is because there's a lot of people around here with guns to go shoot them. And he's like, yeah, you can bring your 50 cal. Oh, this guy he could, from Home Depot. You think that's the only guy that's building 50 cal shit at a Home Depot in Florida? So I just feel like the biggest sitting army on the planet is the American people. And I would be like the same way the Americans were ready to take a few weeks off work when they shut us down for the vid. And that's why it was so easy to lead us into it. Americans are so desperate for a fist fight that if China rolled on shore, it would give people such an instant uniting. It would be better than the aliens. They'd be like, I could use these guns and shoot out at the ocean. As some China, man. Like the Americans are waiting for that kind of shit. So I just feel like it's not really with each other. They keep trying to provoke us with each other. Oh, we're gonna have pink pussy hats versus Republicans. Oh, we're gonna have BLM versus Kyle Rittenhouse. Oh, we're gonna have blue versus thing. Oh, they're gonna riot in the streets if Trump gets out. They're gonna riot in the streets if Trump gets in. We're not going to riot in the streets because we're not sitting on our hands. We're all sitting on our guns. And that's what every other country around the world, Canadians, Australians, Europeans, there is a different kind of, when you're prepared, when you have a generator for your family and you have a hurricane kit or an earthquake kit for your family and you have MREs and you have guns to protect your family and you have a roof over your head, there's a different kind of thing they can't fear you with than if you're the person sitting there with, I have a bag of rice. They can scare the shit out of you because you don't have anything. Your car's electric. They could just turn off your Tesla. They decide how far you go. So I just feel like the more fear you represent and think is out there, the less capable you are of starting a fire with your own hands.
Unless you're the threat.
Yeah, unless you're actually the person that's going to come and steal the shit that I have to protect against. But that's where I believe in my community. We know about a well-armed militia. We know our state's National Guard is a whole different thing than a well-armed militia. We know the United States military is completely separate from our state and everything I just said there. I know in my neighborhood, I'm not waiting for either of those things. We don't have just one well-armed militia in our state. And so there's a whole bunch of veterans that they just are cleaning their weaponry. Can't wait to train me to be like Chaney. That means go forward. This means go down. And I'm like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been waiting for this. So there's like in Florida, it's just hard. We're not scared of some Chinaman trying to come chase us around our swamp. Like, bring it. We know these swamps like the back of our hand. And that's, I don't feel, I just say that for my state. But I think fear comes if you live in a shithole. And when you look around, you don't know who's next to you. You don't know your neighbors. And your mayor and your governor told you can't protect yourself. They've already told you how big a soda you can have. I see why you're scared, because you're sitting there drinking your 20-ounce Coke because your governor told you can't control the amount of calories that go in your fat ass body. How could you handle this gun? So I see why some people are scared, and other people like me sit on their stoop and watch their sunset every day and say, hi, neighbor. Hi, mailman. That's how I look at the world, though.
I like
I said hi to my mailman, and he was blown away. He was just like, hello.
I do real Florida grim, like, hey, mailman, all right, drop it. Now back up.
But a Florida mailman's like, we invented postal, bitch. And we're like, have a good day, bitch. Have a good day.
A weird thing happened last night and this morning where I was watching The Office as usual, but I was watching the British version. And I only paid for the first episode. And then when it ended, it went straight into the Brady Bunch movie. And I was watching the Brady Bunch movie and I was like, this is hilarious. And then I fell asleep, and then it automatically chooses what to watch next. And then it was the Brady Bunch. And I woke up to the freaking, I don't know if you ever watched the Brady Bunch now, but it is, wow. It's just like this all white family with blue eyes, and everything.
Marsha.
Everything is just blonde, blue eye, white, and everything is so. Everything is like the father figure is the opposite. It's just like what the movie was.
That guy
making
died of
fun of.
AIDS. The dad of the Brady Bunch died of AIDS. And then the mom of the Brady Bunch was sleeping with Greg. And,
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then Peter of the Brady Bunch married one of America's Next Top Models, and they had a reality show on VH1.
Well, like it was so wholesome though. The show was so wholesome, and like I'm watching it, I'm like, what? This is the opposite of Beavis and Butthead of what I grew up watching.
I think it was self-aware though. Like even back then, just like the movie, like they knew they were being over the top wholesome in a way that didn't exist, and like they kind of were making fun of it a lot of the time.
And there was just like not a lot of stations to tune into, so people like modeled this as a simulacrum or a billboard to imitate, and like it was just wild watching it, and I would never have watched it unless it was just.
Don't you think it was such an inside baseball what they were actually doing, that they used the Brady Bunch to make a fake band that spread the same way as the Monkees, which in turn was the Beatles, and then that became every single boy band.
Right.
It's like they were doing the same thing, like playing characters to then infect with musical themes. Like none of them could
Partridge
really
Family, too.
sing. They went on tour. Yeah, Partridge Family. They had to like get some of that energy. So it became like a bunch of Von Trapp families that were like faux Hanson. They were bopping us back then.
The best one was the Banana Splits, hands down. Best boy band ever. Banana Splits.
Not Menudo?
Well, okay. Close second. Menudo. Cute boys. How can you go wrong?
The reason Menudo was kind of funny is because he knew that the boys were going to age out. And so instead, one manager just owned the entire band, the entire look, the entire songs, and then he just replaced the boys. It is kind of, he could always, the second they got old enough to ask money about the financials, he was like, bye, Ricky Martin.
Yeah. Well, this was a better model that Lou Pearlman had set up, because when I first moved to Orlando, I worked at Transcontinental Studios for like the first year and a half.
O-Town.
O-Town, and there was like 5 or 6 that he was developing at the same time for that exact reason, where like if NSYNC got too big, okay, we got O-Town, and when O-Town gets too big, he'd always have like 3 or 4 of those irons in the fire.
Take
and
5.
It was like everyone that I knew that was trying to get into this stuff knew that like it didn't matter if you were good or if you like got along with the other bandmates. All you had to do was just kind of court Lou Pearlman and make him see like, oh, I'll take you and put you in band A, B, or C, right? It was almost like showing up for a ride at Disney World, and the guy takes your ticket, and it's like, okay, go over there into the D line or whatever. If you just fit the right mold for Lou Pearlman, and he kind of had that, but instead of just one band style Menudo, it was like a non-ending list of those. Unfortunately, he got hit for tax evasion, and I lost my job soon after.
This is the beginning of my favorite boy band song. Ready?
Don't get us taken down.
Just that part.
If you play
Dang, we text each other a lot.
Yeah, have you ever drank the water at Camp Lejeune?
If you play the Dead Bonnie Man song, I will sing it.
I also think like the Lou Pearlman, when you look at the boy band, like there's something CIA there, and that's why he had to come down. Because when you look at who comes through there, the Britneys and Christinas, the Backstreet Boys, the NSYNCs, the Aaron Carters, it's like, holy shit, what was going on out of this guy's house in Orlando? He literally created a boot camp for these pop stars to just come through, and then like somebody was writing the songs, somebody was choreographing them, somebody was picking out their outfits, and then the kids were in the mainstream.
I mean, he was kind of like the Dan Schneider to the boy band world, or like the Weinstein to the boy band world. Like, if anything, he might have got off easy that they only popped him for tax evasion, essentially, right?
The Carters need to be looked into as a whole, the amount of family members of theirs that have died, the connections, how much the brother said at the end to Aaron Carter about Nick Carter raped me and he raped all them girls, Nick Carter, and it's all darkness. Like their whole entire family, like they owned an island in the Keys. The parents were never there, like all the stuff around the Carter family. But they're definitely one of the families that Nick is like, Lou never did anything, or Nick's like, oh, Lou was sketchy. But then Aaron's like, Lou never did anything to me. But then Aaron's like the one that seems traumatized
And like
or
Jay-Z,
dead now, but
Jay-Z is
bathtub death.
Jay-Z Carter is a Carter.
Yeah, Aaron Carter would have definitely also been one of those little kids that, just like Justin Bieber, was passed around, and he probably went to Diddy camp. He was like, Aaron Carter was like the kid. Like his parents didn't even see him. He was like 12 years old, just going on tour, 13 years old, just having like grown men around him all the time.
And all these videos of Justin Bieber and like how people were treating him as like a kid being interviewed, and like people like jumping on him, and just like it's wild to see that, because I don't know, the Biebs.
I think there's a Diplo video with Justin Bieber that if you break it down and watch it all in stills, because it's all a bunch of graffiti that goes around him, there is so much symbolism in it. And then there's another video that he does, Yummy, where it's just him sitting in a restaurant. Everything about this video is adrenochrome symbolism, pedophilia, the like one-eyed symbolism, them mocking about like yummy, yummy, and it's like him.
Were
and
you guys
Pink.
following Justin Bieber before that song? Like before the song like made it to on Instagram, he was posting babies. And it was like one after the other. And it was, I mean, I unfollowed him at the time because with Yummy, it fucking weirded me out. I was like, what the fuck, you know? And then his song Yummy came out, and he's like totally.
That's weird.
And he's married to Haley Baldwin.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably answers my question. I'm weirded out because I'm on Stephen Baldwin's Wikipedia page, and he's got way too many pictures of him with children on this Wikipedia page. And then it says that Stephen Baldwin and Justin Bieber, what's their relationship? Justin Bieber is his son-in-law.
Yeah, I did a
Stephen
video
Baldwin's
about this with the donut, and then I was like, look out, Justin. And then that's when his eye, right after that, his eyeball went all weird.
And how is that connected to Hillsong? Because isn't that connected to Hillsong?
Well, then the whole
Christian
Hillsong
music?
Church, if you look at how big Hillsong Church is, Hillsong seems like it could just be child trafficking. The whole entire thing, even down to the young preacher hanging out with Justin Bieber, like taking tea all the time, looking like he's really young, and like always being inseparable of him for a period of time. It seems all like the Christian grift. That's what I call the whole entire segment of it. It's just bigger. This is all the Christian grift. As long as somebody says they're Christian, then that must mean they're a quote unquote good guy. And we all have to put them in this category. And so everything they say must have some weight of truth, Kirk Cameron.
Like a lot of people be doing that. It's crazy. But they do it for like their own self. And I feel like there's a lot of satanic Christians out there, but they don't know that they're satanic, because like the Satanists, they do things.
Well, that's why you have to stop using the word Satan and use the word evil. Just call it what it is.
Well, I'm talking about Anton LaVey's like Satanism, just the way that
spells are spells. If it has evil behind it, your prayer has evil behind it, that's a spell.
So,
and that's black.
Yeah.
What if you're casting an evil spell against Hitler?
I think that's
it's back to the whole you can kill a pedophile thing, like Chaney was saying, right?
Wow.
It's no karmic weight. But I do think like whatever school of thought that it's like all the symbols matter of the thing, whatever they're calling the thing, it's put into like Masonic symbols or Masonic symbols, and people are like, these are satanic symbols, and people are like, these are the cult of Mary symbols, and people are like, these are symbols of this. That you do wonder what the whole entire philosophy is behind the group if they're using all the symbols, like what they tell
Yeah, but
us compared to what it is.
that's obvious. Where the Christians, they just throw a cross at you and say, "Hey, I'm good."
But
And they're
that's
still
not all
spitting evil at you.
Christians.
They're still
That's
spitting
not
evil
all
at you.
Christians at all.
No,
Like, I think it's
no.
like,
Nor is it all three Freemasons, right, Thomas?
I can't disclose that.
I don't know. You seem so aggressive tonight. Like, you seem so mad. I'm scared to say anything because you're just gonna be like, well, "What's the point of it all? Why are you saying this word? This is the only word you should
Full
say."
moon, yo.
Like, I
Very full
know.
moon.
Like,
I've been
Jesus
feeling weird
Christ.
all day. All day I've been like, but yeah. Yeah,
I
but
don't even know.
what I've noticed is that people do use religion or Christianity is probably the biggest one in the truther world, where they will use that for the validations, for the likes, subscribers, money. And that's why I said Anton LaVey type of Satanist. That's why I said that, is because it's I'm doing this not for a spiritual reason. I'm doing it for my own gain. So it's very Promethean in a sense. So I wasn't even trying to go into if it was evil or not. I was just saying the philosophy behind it. It seems like it, because what I've learned about Christianity is a lot different than what I see online through action of
Yeah.
maybe that was kind of not well worded.
It's all right. There's a weird energy in the room.
Oh, it's okay. Embrace the weird.
He talked through it just fine. Jesus Christ.
I was in a minor debate with some rando this week, but the claim that there's not a single Satanist on the planet that actually believes in Satan, and I was trying to figure out if there's like a version of it, because it gets in one of those semantic debates, right? Where the groups that seem like they actually have a theist. So there's like theistic Satanists, and then there's atheistic Satanists. And a lot of them, like Anton LaVey and the Temple of Satan, like a lot of those, I think it classified as atheistic Satanism, in that they don't actually believe in God and the devil. They just kind of latch on to this like satanic set of. But then there is one that is a theistic Satanism, but that one is Temple of Set. And then technically it falls into this range. Well, Set isn't Satan, so they're not really worshiping Satan. Just like Luciferians, there are some Luciferians that worship Lucifer, but they don't see him as the real Satan. So is there actually any like self-identifying Satanist that's known that actually worships the biblical Satan? It almost seems like they all weasel around. They're like, no, I'm worshiping Dionysus, or I'm worshiping Set.
Well, if we're really going back to sources here, with the King James Bible being the English translation with the Elizabethan English sort of thing, that doesn't talk about Satan a whole lot.
That's what I was going to say.
So that's sort of the Catholic Bible, and then we have, Martin Luther going into Lutheranism, and then we have the Protestants, and by the time we're getting so far away from the original source document, you get something Dante Alighieri is writing some book about the 7 layers of hell as a nacho dip thing, and it's like, whoa, man. And that's where they really give Lucifer a character as a literary character, and then people are conflating the idea of the devil being Satan, being Lucifer, being an enemy of God, and they can build churches around it. But those ideas developed later and later, just like with the New Testament being a continuation of the Old Testament. Well, there's groups of people that just stick with the Torah, and the New Testament isn't a book that they really LARP with. That's not part of their canon of role-playing materials that they go with when they're doing their liturgy and their rituals. So does that kind of help to parse out these different ideas a little bit?
Perhaps. I just wonder if there is like a legit crowd that wouldn't that you couldn't just explain away as saying they're called Satanists because they are in they're basically not in line with Catholicism or Protestantism or any of those isms that's in Christianity. But is there groups that are like, yes, we worship this evil God in the States. Yes, we worship this evil God and we acknowledge that they're evil and we want evil to happen. Or do they all identify as like, no, ours is the good one, and then it's only opposing factions that are labeling each other evil? Like one of the examples outside the U.S. might be like the Thuggies that worship Kali, and even that is kind of like a cultural thing. But there are like aspects of the Thuggies, right, that like the way that they worship their god is by hurting people and murdering them and like doing horrific things in their worship. Is there something like that in the States within the state? Is all kind of falls and folds into the satanic panic concept. Like there's evil Satanists that are waiting to sacrifice and kidnap and like do all kinds of naughty things. And it almost feels like there's been a full like debunking of that even existing in the States.
And the first depiction of Satan was purple, no, or blue or purple, which I thought is interesting.
Well, the devil emoji is purple.
The
blue.
devil
The devils were
emoji
blue.
is purple, so they got it right. Like you can look up that's good catch right there.
Thank
Are
you.
you talking Hades now? Hades.
I see
Disney's Hercules Hades version.
the first depiction of the devil. It's like purple. It could be blue though. I think it was blue though. I think Jesus was maybe purple. I don't remember. I have to look it up. But everyone connects it to being red right now. So I'll see videos. People are like, look, it's red. It's satanic. It's red because of the imagery.
Chakra.
The imagery that the butthole chakra.
Well, they're associating the red with kind of a hot-headed character, saying like demons and the devil are in this lake of fire underworld where everything is just constantly burning, like a burning trash pile.
Well, actually, Sheol isn't even the lake of fire. Sheol isn't the lake of fire. It just means the underworld, the underground.
They even described Jonah as being in Sheol. When he was in the whale, he was in Sheol.
I can't. This is like digging deep into like my art theory when I went through art school. But one of the lessons they had there was that there was a battle between like the Flemish and the Spanish artists on who was going to paint Satan or the devil or whoever it is back and forth. And the Flemish would keep painting them with black hair, like all black. But then the Spanish artists would always paint them with red hair and a red beard to make them look English. Because they were kind of like trying to villainize
vilifying.
each other.
And you don't want it to look like you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what
if
it was.
I got black hair, the devil ain't gonna have black hair.
Well, just like what Caesar Borgia ended up becoming like the face of Jesus for the longest time because they hired enough painters to keep painting the same face or promote it, and then he became the face of it. Just like redheads became the Red Devil, in addition to all the other connotations that the color red gives. But it was kind of put in place by the arts, and more specifically the arts being funded by the patrons of the arts.
And that's the Bible bookstore that took what they would consider a stock photo of a Caesar that looked old and then just reprinted over and over and over again. They didn't have to pay royalties to any artists. They just
and that would
used
also be like
imagery.
a magic. Like you're changing the zeitgeist, like just the perception. And if you can change the perception, the reality doesn't matter anymore.
What
Like
about
if
the red letter
everybody just
Bible?
thinks, yeah, like the devil's red now, hell's red, hell's hot. Where did that even come from? They wanted you to stay away from warm climates. That's hellish. Those people are hellions.
Tom
Yes, we are.
Cruise in Legend.
Or Tartarus.
And
That's
isn't Hela,
Tartarus over there.
was Hela the goddess of the underworld? But I thought she was like the mother.
Well, then there's Helena. And then like Hellenistic, that is a whole entire Layla knows a lot about that, because I think a lot of the Albanian, it's like mixed. Like there's so much that the Holy Roman Empire stole, and so much that's ancient Hellenistic religions, and that goes into like where it's also, you don't know if it's like goddess worship. That's where I think it's so interesting that one what is it, like the Immortals or something, there's that
Eternals.
whatever, yeah, Eternals. And because if they were all gods, you would just be wherever you're at, and Achilles would have some whole statue of him, and Helena would have some whole statue of her, and Gilgamesh would have some whole statue, and they just
Eventually.
moved to their parts of the world and like did their own thing. But somewhere it's interesting, the whole Hellenistic religion, what a stronghold it held for how long, and even the sculptures and everything that still remain from it in that part of the world.
One of the hurricanes is going to be called Helena.
Huh.
I'm looking out for the hurricane names with the 33 hurricanes coming your way with the Florida.
It's so interesting. I would look at all the wind maps all the time, and I see what they call disturbances or storms, or like this is going to be the first named storm of the year. And I look at it and I'm like, 3 days out, I can see there's going to be no disturbance in the area. It's like they can't push commerce and they can't push fear unless every part of the seaboard has to go and run to Home Depot and fill their coffers.
For sure.
Excessive heat warning.
I don't know. I would still take precautions.
Snowpocalypse.
Yeah, I'm not in the weather thing. It's just like I'd play it safe.
I
But
think
I'm not.
every single person, wherever
Make sure you
you
have
live,
toilet paper.
should have enough food to
You
feed the
can
people
camp
in
in
your
the
house.
woods, man.
Enough
But being
fresh
in
water.
Arizona is tight, but it's like, yo, it's gonna be super
No, it's
hot.
not.
It doesn't freak me out. But if it gets super hot, you don't probably freak out. You're probably like, oh, I can handle it. It could get
Yeah, you're
hot.
fine. You open your windows.
115, no big deal. You just go to the fucking mountain, man. Everybody just sits here and bitches in their backyard, and they just, I'm too hot.
It's so hot out here. But
Put a
like,
fucking wet towel over your fucking face, you idiot.
or you put it over your neck too to hydrate.
Or over your head.
Your head, your neck, yeah.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine with heat. Humans can deal with a
We
lot
can
of
handle a lot of shit.
heat. We can
lot.
deal with a lot of shit. And
Yeah, I know. I went to a reservation in Florida where the government kicked the Indians out to because of the hurricane. So they were posted up there. And I asked them, I was like, what do you do when the hurricane comes? And they said that they would climb the palm tree, and whoever held on to it the hardest, lived. That's what they did. And I was like, that's crazy.
That's hardcore.
I learned that in Florida.
right now the storms.
I also saw an alligator wrestler. That was cool.
Was he a white guy or a?
He wasn't white.
He was a Seminole.
Yeah, he wasn't white. I don't know what he was, but he wasn't white.
It seems like there's like two different people in Florida that wrestle alligators. One is the Seminoles, and the other ones are just like Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh,
Yeah, he has like boots on, cut off jean shorts, and then like a flannel that's
shirt,
ripped.
something. Yeah,
That his
backwards
whole
hat.
belly is not being covered.
I think I need to move to Florida. It's the Holy Land.
Bushed up cowboy hat.
It's pretty fantastic. It's hot. It's humid, but I don't think it gets hot like some. Well, Orlando gets a different kind of heat than I get where I live. That swamp gets a different kind of heat. Like Thomas has to deal with more heat than I have to deal with.
Yeah, don't come to Orlando, man. It's not the best place in Florida.
I have
Oh,
a sea
okay.
breeze all the time. All the time.
Yeah. That or Mexico. Or Mexico.
If you wait in Mexico long enough, you can run for political office because everybody else around you will be dead.
What do you mean?
That's how they decide who's going to win politics. It's like, oh, we
saw
had
that.
33 people running
Yeah.
for this position, and 32 of them are dead. I guess you win.
It's kind of like climbing that palm tree, except now you have to climb the palm tree and not get shot by the cartel.
Yeah.
Is that how the Nuju got it? She had everybody knocked him off.
I think everybody.
Well, she's like connected to the WEF too. And she was on the predictive programming of the Economist magazine as well.
I think another thing, a shout out to Peru and Hungary, because their whole governments have, if you want to try to transition, they just call it a mental illness now.
Oh, thank God. Somebody has some sense. An actual
Hungary
country said that?
doesn't play. Hungary
Oh.
has had the same culture for thousands of years because they don't give a fuck. And Peruvians, I'm actually surprised that Peru is like, that shit's cray.
That shit cray.
That shit be cray. So big up yourselves, Peru and
All
Hungary.
mental illness.
It's mental illness, and it's fine.
Is it?
It's fine.
It's
We're all
not fine.
dealing with mental illness. It's fine as long as you keep it away from the kids.
Right.
You do whatever you're going to do, but I don't have to pretend you're underwater just because you're walking around with flippers. This is what we're not going to play along with. This is part of the fairy tale game I'm done with. In the big scale is I'm not going to call you Zims. I'm not going to make up words for just you because you don't have anything interesting about you that we have to talk about whatever you think your sexual proclivities are on our first meeting. So
mean you
I'm
can't
not
call
going
them
to
gay-tarded?
play. Yeah, well, I'm not
A human is
playing
not a
those
they.
things.
Unless you have multiple personalities in there, which is also a mental illness, you are not a they.
Them, they.
You are an individual.
Yeah.
Finish they them.
I was an English teacher.
That is the best new
Period.
shirt. Finish they them. I know. it's ridiculous.
Pronoun, like the very reason for a pronoun to exist is to provide clearer and shorter communication. So you don't have to keep saying
Right.
change to this, change to this, change to this. The second
Abbie
you say
is going to go to the
they-
store because Abbie wants this. Yeah, it
right,
sounds
it
retarded
sounds
if you don't use
weird.
pronouns. Yeah.
So it's almost like a compression algorithm. It's like a way to say more things with less effort. And the second you add they in place of any other pronoun, you're now adding confusion. You're now doing the opposite of what the pronoun was meant to do. You might as well just say Abbie went to store, got bread, came home, and just skip all pronouns, and it makes more sense and causes
It
less
absolutely
confusion.
does. Yeah.
They want us to all be autistic so we can speak to the computer better.
Want us all be autistic, so speak computer better. I mean, it still makes more sense than trying to squeeze in weird pronouns that make you like have to wonder about it.
We gotta do
have a unclear, what antecedent with a pronoun. It like if you're writing, it should have you have to know who or what the pronoun refers to.
How many languages around the world do the masculine and feminine matter in a way that I can't play around with your Zim, Zays, toaster oven shark? That's
We're
where
one of the
I just
few
feel like
languages that don't
can't.
have the masculine feminine in language so
Are
much.
the anti-noun people organized together? Are there anti-noun hangout groups? Are they getting together?
we are right here, right now.
Stop
This is the first
reducing
meeting
everything
of
to
the
just a word,
anti-noun.
man.
We have to make the polar opposite. We have to become the anti-nouners so everybody can find a center.
the pro adjectives.
Yeah, that's what I think. Being pro adjectives would be way better in describing somebody. But see, that's what they didn't want us to do because you're not allowed to say Chaney, the bleach-haired lesbian, because everyone's like, I'm not allowed to say, the
So-and-so,
black
the
guy
fat
with the
person.
curly hair.
Yeah, you
The
can't call
fat
somebody fat.
lady down the road with,
You're
the fat
describing
Mexican.
Trump right now. That's what Trump does. It's literally like, oh, Marco, the drinky water, spill of water all over yourself person. Like that just becomes the nickname.
It's
Like that's
clear speech,
It
really.
is.
Like,
Those adjectives become the nouns, and do people identify with the adjectives they've been called over and over again? Like you're a tweaker, or
Fat Amy.
right?
Fat Amy. Fat, but you're not allowed to call Lizzo fat. It just dawned on me yesterday. So, like I call women broads all the time.
That was the thing.
It just dawned on
Okay.
me that that's me calling them thick. But
Is that
back
shoulderism?
then,
Oh, broad? Oh,
But a
yeah.
broad is
it
like,
just
I didn't even
dawned
make
on
that.
me.
but broad is
It's
curvy,
obvious I
though,
never made the
right? I
decision.
see broad as a
Made the
curvy
connection.
woman.
I never.
I
Yeah,
was
I
calling
see
her
broad as like that.
thicky, like the
Yeah.
same way. Like if I saw a
Statuette.
girl
Like
and
thick
she
with
walked
the
by
C's.
me, and I'm like, "Dang, that girl's thick." Like if
Yeah.
she made me do eyes,
Mm.
then I'd be like, "Hey, broady." That's the exact same thing. Back then, I was saying that girl's thick. She's broad. She's not slim. She's not Miss 6 o'clock. She's not a cave bitch.
Recognizing
She
childbearing
is.
hips.
Yes, I saw it.
Mm.
So I'm
Pretty.
like,
Slow
"Oh,
motion for
broad."
me. Slow motion for me.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm bringing back broady. And that's just a
She's a
nice
broad.
way that I could be like, yeah, look at that broad. That means look at
That
that
broad.
thick peach over there.
That's
What
you with
about toots?
that's you with that badass bands, huh?
A
That's you
toots? That
Yeah,
means we're
what's the
sucking.
toots?
that's you that can't keep old
I
lady.
want to suck that toots.
Hawk tour.
Tootsie.
You know what word I think is weird too is like cunning, because cunning has to do with like
Cunning?
cunt, cunningless. Cunningless
Yeah.
is like the act of
That's
Cunning
so
lingus.
like licking the cunny. That's where the word cunt comes from.
from
Yeah, but cunning like a fox.
Cunning is smart.
I
It's
know, but
brilliant.
cunning and it all has to do with
Cun.
vagina.
What about pussy?
Shout out to Layla. I never have thought pus when I think
Me
of pussy.
either, not one time. But I will
Not
tell
once.
you, every time I sit, if I ever go with ladies when they go to manicure, pedicure places, and it's all Asian sitting around. This is my dad fucking sense of humor. That this is the shit that cracks me up for like 10 minutes stoned that no other ladies think are funny, but I just am sitting there like dying. I'm like, do you think all these Asians got a good deal moving into these Polish centers? But it's all like Polish center. But I always just think it's so funny.
See, that's what pussy did for me. When I see it written now, I can't not think of that.
Pussy.
I
That's
can
what when
say
I
it,
see Polish, I
but when I
just
see
am the Polish.
the word,
Sausages.
Cunning
Yeah.
linguists, Riggs. That's funny.
What about Lil Wayne's?
that's in the lyrics.
Have you heard
Shiny
Lil,
processed
I
meat.
know, but it's really like cunning.
What about somebody going to
List.
jail for man's laughter?
They might have to see the rapist for anger management.
The man's laughter is the one that got me too this week that I thought was so funny when somebody's like, "Yep, that's the dumbest thing I ever read." Is I thought somebody was going like, "What's wrong with a man
Polish
laughing?" Like man's laughter. Anyways, you guys will have to look that up later for yourselves. That might be a deep cut. You might have to get out your codex for man's laughter.
That gets into texting culture, and I was on a comment thread. People were discussing the uses of the dot does a lot, the ellipsis, and if it's passive aggressive, and there were different camps forming. People were saying, well, if you have one thought and you can put it in one message and click send, then you get one notification. But if you go like 3 words send, 4 words send, 5 words send, 3 words send to try to get your thoughts out, then the phone's just buzzing in someone's pocket and they're getting real nervous and they start sweating like, what's going on? Is there an emergency?
oh, I do not like that.
So the dot in the SOS, the SMS texting, when text messages used to be charged per message, so you'd want to fill out your message and then send it to get the maximum space. That was what Twitter was founded on, 144 characters to text your tweet to a server. So it would be posted somewhere, and then you'd subscribe to other people's tweets and you'd receive them to your cell phone as texts. So you'd be engaged in those conversations. And now people are remembering the history of communication, and they're thinking, well, this ellipse thing or the other thing was having to put a period in. If you hit space, and then it puts a period. And do you like to have 2 spaces between sentences, or does that annoy people? So all these communication styles were under attack from all angles.
Well, yeah, even like when I try to write something the way I want to write it, the way I speak, it won't let me. It's like, no, you can't say that like that.
This is all going back to my favorite boy band song, everything you just said, because it's all about texting.
What is it? What's the favorite boy band song?
Soulja Boy?
It is Mindless Behavior, and it's called My Girl. It's so cute.
I never even heard of
Mindless
that.
Behavior.
I
I
it's so
remember that.
cool.
I'm a
Wait,
dot dot dot
Dang,
texter.
we
thinking of
text each other
mindless-
a lot.
I'm
I
thinking
dot
of
dot dot a lot.
dot, 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 dot.
Do you ever send people the letter K as a response?
No.
Oh, that'll get people pissed.
No, but you know what
Yeah.
else
Yes,
is
I do.
kind of a thing that's passive aggressive
Okay.
a little bit? People don't love thumbs up. Like the thumbs
It
up
is
is
rude.
not an
Thumbs up's okay.
appropriate.
Is it not good?
Thumbs up's
No, it really is not.
buddy. That's like calling someone
It's
buddy.
not good?
No.
Well, somebody's getting a lot of these then.
Yeah, it's like when somebody's like, okay, after work when you get home tonight, we should go out to dinner. If you just send back a thumbs up, are you mad at me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Kay, are you mad at me?
Yeah, if you just sent back K, I'm like,
Kidding me?
oh, like I'm having a whole internal K.
Breakdown, yeah,
Like,
me
what
That's
did
how
I
we
do?
talk though. Yeah, but I'm looking at a phone and I'm doing something. I'm gonna go, okay. I'm gonna use the minimum possible.
So you
To
invert that
get
by
back
saying
to the thing.
okay
Not-
or KK.
Or for
That's
show.
okay. But just
This
is
okay
what
by
I
itself
realized.
is not okay.
You write a for show.
Sorry, everybody's offended.
I send
I said
emojis
K.
sometimes like that I'm not mad. Like I have to send an emoji afterward because I
Yeah.
feel like I have
Yeah.
resting
Yeah.
bitch face in my
I know.
text. So then I have to put a smiley face on the end. But my friends know me well enough now
Oh.
that if I put the 2 dots with a smiley face and not an actual emoji, they're like, "What's wrong? What are you doing? How's your energy?"
That's smiley face killer approval right there. So you got to watch out if you put smiley faces on anything, because there's people going around talking smiley face killer. So every time they see the smile face that, upturn you and the little black dotty eyes, that's the smiley face. And now that's got to be associated with a killer.
Does that do one? No.
I'd be putting them exclamation marks because I want to be excited about the conversation. Like, yo, what up? And then people are like, are you angry? Why are you yelling at me through the text? Because I put the exclamation mark. So exclamation mark.
Then I respond with 3 question marks.
Or a question mark, exclamation mark, question mark.
I just say K.
Okay.
Okay. Thumbs up.
Well, I always responded with K until I started getting people like pissed off at me because I'm saying K, and I'm like,
No.
okay, so K is not
Yeah.
okay. Now I know. Like, so if somebody says K to me, then I'm like, oh, it's not
For
okay.
the longest time,
long to type
I
10
thought
for.
people were saying it's rude to leave someone unread. So I would
And
just
it's
I would
unread,
read.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know that for the longest time. So I would read a message, and it's like, okay, now it's been read. So I didn't leave it unread, and then I found out way too late that it's like, don't leave it
Unread.
unread.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I do now, which apparently is incredibly offensive.
Because of the on-read thing, it just shut me down in general. And so now I have social media that I have so much mail in that I'm so scared to open it and leave anyone on read that now I apologize to anyone out there that
Oh,
sent me something
man.
really cool. on Instagram to Chaney_in_Wonderland, it shuts me down. Like I want to open it up. I want to spend time.
But now you're obligated to do
Well,
something about it.
And
I
you
have read
know,
receipts off, so then I don't know. Like, I'll reply when I get to it, but it's not that I don't want to. It's just that shit, life's busy.
That's
Everyone
mail though.
should
You
know
can't
that.
you can't do that with like Twitter and Instagram and all these other
You
platforms.
can on Instagram. Instagram, you can turn off read receipts.
Oh really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, my Maria posted it, and I fucking did it.
Ooh.
oh my gosh, I
Those
will just
features
tell
change all
you.
the time.
Speaking of my Maria, I didn't know this, but this is what I learned sometimes when you have an honest friendship with somebody that they're like, "What did I do to upset you?" or whatever, and you're like, "What?" And they're like, "Why did you silence me?" And I was like, silence you? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, you turned off, like, I guess you can see when somebody else silences you on the phone. And I'm like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And she's like, I can tell that I'm silenced. And so I'm like, how do I unsilence you? And so then she told me how. And I'm like, oh shit. Like, I just thought, I wondered why I didn't get notifications anymore from it. But my phone's so weird and it's always on silent anyway. But I just didn't even know that. So then I went through a lot of my texts because just accidentally I'd hit them to silent. And I'm like, I wonder if I upset people that they're like, why does she have my notifications on silent? I don't even text that bitch that much. Anyways, that was another
But
thing
it
that
does
I
that
learned that
too
was
if you
hurting
have it.
people's feelings that I
But it
didn't even know
also
it was
will give
happening.
a notification if you just have it on like nighttime mode or do not disturb. Like your messages will still come through, but it'll say that they have messages silenced. So it looks like it's not even that you have an individual silenced. It can be
That is one of my favorite things to do when it's like this person has notification silent and then I'm like, send it anyway, loud. Like slam it. Like I like when it's just like I know that it's like they're still awake. I'm persistent. That's what I call instead of annoying or stalking. Like, what are you doing? I know you're still up.
You were just on social media.
I just saw you on social media. Entertain me. All right. 3 hours and 5 minutes. Do you guys have anything else to chit chat about? ... Before we fly out of here.
It's a to be continued ending.
To be continued. Thanks for hanging out with us for the solstice, you guys. And we will totally be back Sunday to hang out. And Layla will be with us hanging out. And maybe we'll get emo. And that's
Why not?
fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because we might talk about animals a little bit and how some people disregard, like we were talking about a little last Sunday, how some people, like, you lose someone in your life, but the label on that person isn't right. So you're like, I lost my grandmother, and everyone's like, man, they related to them losing their grandma, and they're like, fine, they don't know your grandma raised you. Or they're like, I lost my stepfather. They don't know that was your real dad. So they're like, well, at least it wasn't your real dad. Let's move on. And so people do this thing with animal deaths sometimes, where it's like whatever their depth of animal relationship they've ever had. So if they've only ever lived on a farm and there's farm cows and there's farm slaughter, they're like, so what? A cow dies occasionally. But sometimes people are like insensitive with animal deaths in general, and they don't know it's like the depths of somebody's death they've ever dealt with before. But anyways, we'll probably talk about that kind of shit on Sunday. Death, because why, Gordy?
We're all gonna die.
Are you all right, you guys? Donut, do you have anything you're plugging this week?
This week I got some cool interviews coming up that I'm super excited about with James Tunney. James Tunney, amazing author, painter. I did a video on my YouTube. Highly recommend it. So good. He's a mystic, and he just went deep onto a lot of conspiracy stuff. It was phenomenal, and I get to talk to him again next week, and I get to talk to Cynthia Chung, who I'm very excited to speak with. I talked to her husband, Matt Errett, and their research is absolutely phenomenal. So those two interviews that I get to do, I am just so pumped up for, and I get to do that next week. So that's what's coming out next week.
And if we do Bohemian Grove, you're going to come to that too, right? In
I wasn't
October.
invited. I'm Jewish, so I don't know if they allow.
You have to go because first they come for the Jews before they come for the lesbians. That's how I know to run.
They actually came for the Freemasons first.
I always know to run by I start seeing you guys go down and I'm like whoop 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 whoop. I get out of there like Three Stooges. Thomas, do you have anything going on this week?
I do. I got a couple things going on. I've got an interview with Jerry Marzinski, which airs on Monday,
Wow.
and he basically specializes in this concept that schizophrenics are actually hearing some sort of real entities / demons / and I went into it 100% skeptical, and if anything, he's been the one person that's maybe convinced me there could be something out there that's not just like a weird chemical imbalance. So that was a really interesting interview. And then also we just it aired today that it was the Occult Disney episode of Atlantis, The Lost Empire, which is one of the best Disney movies ever created. And we had Gordo from those conspiracy guys on it. So it completely went off the rails. And everyone just like laughs for like 3 hours and it like hurts your mouth. So that's, and then this coming week, I'm expecting the full shipment of all the Chosen One issues, all the adult occult issues, and they'll all start getting shipped out next week and the week after and the week after that. I've literally got 13 huge boxes. It's going to be like hundreds of pounds of product, and it's probably going to take a few weeks to ship it all out, but it's
I bought one of those.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So there'll be tons of Paranoid American stuff coming out. Make sure you guys are following Donut. Alan Marcus, thanks for coming to hang out.
Love you guys so much. Thanks for
Love
having me.
you so much. What do you have going on?
Oh, we do Weaving Spiders on Saturday night, every Saturday night. If you go to alanmarcus.com, I've been putting together some audio archives, so we got some of the classic episodes with some of you guys on the screen right now. Your voices are archived, and it's fun to revisit those. If you have a podcast catcher and you want to download some audio for long road trips and listen to the old conversations, they're available, so check that out. Highly encourage you guys to get into the podcast thing.
I love it. And that's at Weaving Spiders Webs and on Odin's Alchemy on Rockfin. You can find that on Saturday nights around 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, sometimes earlier or later, but around that time. Gordy, do you have anything going on this week?
I have a lot of healing, grounding. Oh, I'm trying to work on me. That's it.
Abbie?
Got a couple workouts and no, I don't got shit going on. Sunday, I'll be here.
Bunch of work.
You'll be here. All right. Well, thank you guys. We love you so much. And we will see you guys on the other side of the moon. Bye bye.
Britney Spears, can we be saved? God, why is Satan controlling the universe? Here comes Santa.
some philosophies, intentionally, magically good guys. Good guys, good guys. Good guys, witches, weirdos, mischief making. It's okay to change your thinking. Good guys. Good guys, good guys.
Bunnies. Hi. Okay, of course she's starving for the most attention because she's the youngest. Give me attention, please. Now, Sarah, you're very stuck up. And you're too cool for school, I get it. Jesus Christ, be nice.